Hey, what is up, everybody? It's me, Steve Thomas at Choice Minis on your social media of choice. We're here. We're here. We got ourselves Fabius Bile. We got ourselves you. We got ourselves some time to get together. Paint a Fabius Bile. Fabius Bile. Fabius. Regardless. Silly me. I did a little bit of painting this weekend. I got some not so top secret projects on the way. Working on this that I was working on this weekend. As you guys can tell, I don't have my better half here with me. Adam Grimm will be joining us in a bit. He is stuck in the great outdoors, the greatest of outdoors. Out there planting plants, dodging thunderstorms and hailstorms and whatnot. So yeah. He will be joining us in a bit, but in the meantime, it's just me. So let's get into it. We're painting some Apothecary whites on our Fabius Bile. Sorry, I'm reassembling. I was working on some other projects this weekend, and stuff that you guys will see on stream here in not too long, actually. But I was painting some other stuff this weekend. I accidentally left just the crud in the bottom of the ye olde airbrush, which we're going to be using here in a minute. So I'm just cleaning up the dregs. It's literally just there's some airbrush cleaner that got left in the cup, and it dried out, created a deposit on the bottom of the cup. So rather than starting, we're doing white armor tonight. So rather than starting white armor from a place that is already difficult, let's at least start it from a place where we might have a like modicum of success. I don't mind painting white armor. I've never really like. I get painting white armor is not the easiest thing on the planet to do, but like, fine, we'll get through it together. So in the meantime, you're gonna stare at the top of Fabius's head while I wipe things down and try and get the isopropyl alcohol out of my airbrush, so I'm not spraying paint remover at the same time as everything else. Yeah. How you guys doing tonight? I don't even know if anybody's online yet. I don't follow the viewer count, so I'm just doing my thing here, but give me like 2 more seconds here. I'm just blowing out the crud from the airbrush. Oh look, all that crud blew out. That's nice. I like it when the particulate actually gets blown out of the airbrush as opposed to just like living in there for the next forever. So it's good. I like it when chunks fly out. Chunks flying out now is better than chunks flying out in like 5 minutes. So put the cap back on the isopropyl alcohol so that it doesn't just slowly get me more and more wasted. Let's talk about what else we got going on. We got some pink armor. Obviously, this is just flat. I just did a base coat on the shoulder pad here. Starting to get Fabius together, starting to get a color scheme for him. So I'm starting to work on that stuff. I used a new primer on this stuff this weekend. Still not sure how I feel about it. You can see the coverage is pretty spotty, or at least I hope that shows up on stream. The coverage is pretty spotty, but it does flow nicely out of I just used a rattle can on this just because I wanted to see how the rattle can was doing. Just because I've got armies to paint, and sometimes I've got black and white, and I just wanted to see how the white did on its own. The black's actually a much better coverage. It does off-gas forever. It is not a low VOC paint, so this is what 48 plus hours later. It's Tuesday, so I don't know, like almost 96 hours later, and it is still off-gassing, so obviously lots of VOCs in there. Volatile organic components, I think, is VOCs. I could be wrong. I kept calling PBA polyvinyl alcohol. It's polyvinyl acetate last week. That bothers me that we're not on stream, or now that we're back on stream. But regardless, let's mix some paint. So I got, as I said, we got Fabius Bile here. I'm going to start off actually with, well, we'll mix before we put it in the airbrush, but let's mix it on the palette here. Let's start off with a little bit of water in the cup. Add a drop or two of our AK Interactive Matte varnish, or Ultra Matte varnish. I love this stuff, so it's just me. I think it matches really well with the finish of the finish of scale color stuff. So that's why I use it for the most part. Just they're pretty close as far as finish goes. I find that scale color is slightly more satin than our. Let's get a little more in there. Scale color is slightly more satin than the Ultra Matte, but close enough. We're going to start off today with Adriatic Blue. So this is a nice, like, incredibly intense electric blue-green kind of color. So it's very close on blue. It's got a little bit of green in there. It's giving it just like hints of aqua, which I'm into. As these are Emperor's Children, we're going to be using a really, really ridiculous hot pink on the rest of the model. I'm actually waiting for my pink to show up. I know I did a little bit of an armor test last week. That was using Scale Color Fuchsia. I do actually have Stuart Semple's or Culture Hustle. I've got Stuart Semple's Pink is Pink on the way, so as soon as that shows up, I'll do one more test on it. We're going with ridiculous colors on this guy. I'm really happy with where we're going. But we're going to start here. This is going to be our shadow color on the white armor. We're going to add one more probably shadow-ish color to the armor. Actually, how are we looking for flow? That is not flowy enough for me. I'm going to add just a touch more water. Give it another little mix here before we go dumping it in the airbrush. Ugh, what is... Okay, sorry, I got to change the audio on here. This is the thing. Using YouTube safe audio for both Twitch and YouTube, as we are live right now, both Twitch and YouTube, using the YouTube safe audio stuff, some of it is just downright awful. And since I leave it on like its own like play what you feel like list, sometimes it feels like playing bloody awful music. So I'm gonna give that one the old down vote. All right. Cool. Cool. So just because it's now flowing, like you can see the flow on this now, I'm quite happy with where that's at. So add into the cup of, let's get a little bit of paper towel down here just so that I can keep some of the overspray together. A little bit high as far as pressure, but that's all right. Let's get nice thin coats. And I really am going to cover all of the white armor in this, so start off by getting nice thin coats of this all over the white armor, and then we'll come back to build up color. Why am I using a crazy blue-green on this instead of some other maybe more appropriate shadow color? I don't know. Probably just I like the idea of this and I want to see where it goes, so that's part of it for sure. Like part of why I'm doing it this way is because I want to see where it goes, and the conversion on this model is not that extensive, so if I have to redo it, like okay, so I have to wipe all the chaos symbols back off of Fabius Bile again. Not that big a deal. So there you go. We're just getting into our blue here. Give it a couple seconds here to dry. I got my hair dryer, so let's speed things up a little bit. Oh, you've arrived. Welcome, Adam Jones. So Adam is joining us via chat right now. Hey, Adam. I'm gonna hit things with a hair dryer because that makes my life slightly easier. And then we're just going to keep building this color, because what I'm feeling tonight. That is what I am feeling. Ooh, you're in Discord. Maybe I should actually join voice chat in Discord as opposed to just, like, pretending that I was going to. Hang on.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, Adam?
Oh, I'm muted on stream.
Not muted on stream. Continue talking.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh no, you were muted because I hadn't actually joined with like any of my audio tools to the actual stream chat because I don't know. Lots of things to get ready while I'm starting up the stream, and half of them I don't do, so.
Totally fair.
Is it? Or is it just like bad streamer of me?
It's our first time.
It's our first time today, that's for sure.
Yes.
Oh man. So how you doing today, brother?
Bad. Done the one site. There's no big long-lasting project so far. Those are just kind of little 1 day, 2 day projects. And I was out in Hairdryer all day. Sucked.
Well, could be worse. Could have been in Edmonton for some reason.
What a awful.
Right?
I mean, it lives up to its punk scene nickname very well.
Edmonton does, or Airdrie does?
The old Deadminton.
Oh. I always gave it the old Dead Rear. Was back in ye olde days of traveling
Dead
to
Rear
Red
was
Deer.
Red Deer, though.
Sorry?
Dead Rear was Red Deer, though.
Yeah, that was always my least favorite place. My favorite place to play back in ye olde days was Cochrane, actually. Or, sorry, Canmore, not Cochrane. Good.
I actually had a lot of fun in Lethbridge.
Yeah, Lethbridge was always a good town, too. Shoutouts to Lethbridge and small town Alberta.
Yeah. I mean, was it Edmonton, Red Deer, Calgary, and Lethbridge all have weird death-related nicknames in the punk scene, or they used to? I don't know now. I've not been involved with the punk scene for oh god, almost a decade.
Sorry, every once in a while I'm gonna disappear so it doesn't just sound like loud blowing, like I'm vacuuming something.
Oh, that's okay. I kind of clued in when I can see on the pallet cam. It's the hairdryer.
Yep. That's why we put it in, we're putting it over there. It's so that everyone's like, oh, hairdryer. I get it. Because like my $10 hairdryer is not A, good, or B, quiet, because it's a $10 hairdryer.
That's totally fair. I mean, I don't think I've ever. Oh, I haven't owned a hairdryer since I had a mohawk.
That's totally fair. I mean, I own a hairdryer because of dogs and because of minis. So, combination of a dog or of dogs that constantly need, well, not constantly, but often need fur maintenance, and part of that is one dog absolutely loves getting her hair blown out afterwards. The other dog is deathly afraid of the blow dryer. So gotta play both sides.
He knows it. The screamy hot air monster.
Yeah, the screamy hot air monster that points at his face. Although he's now more into the screamy hot air monster that points at his face than he used to be. So we're getting there. Apollo's growing up like a real boy.
Rocket still avoids the bathroom like a plague.
Oh, they'll both go in the bathroom. Neither of them appreciate. They will. Artemis in particular will ask to have a bath when she's messy. She is like, no, I'm dirty and gross. We went for a 4-hour walk on Saturday, and she's still a little dirty from that because she had to go and wander through rivers and stuff and check out the muddiest of mud puddles because it was hot outside. So
that's fair. I mean,
dogs
do what dogs do.
Yeah, dog got to do what dog got to do. I mean, so she's a little messy from that, but and by a little, I mean she was brown on her back end. But now she hasn't had a bath yet, but she does spend an inordinate amount of time cleaning and preening herself. So she's getting closer. We're not terribly far off on the being clean. She's probably going to get a bath tomorrow, just because tomorrow I'm not streaming, and I think I have time tomorrow, so we'll see.
We were gonna give Rocket a bath on Sunday, but neither Jamie or I wanted to go through that process. It's one of us usually ends up in the tub with him.
Oh, poor boy.
Oh, for a half Labrador,
yeah,
definitely afraid of water.
Yeah, neither of my dogs really likes baths, but they will both appreciate it and take the opportunity as it comes. Apollo tries to swallow the bathtub water, which okay. And Artemis is just like, I am dirty, make me clean. So
stands in there like we are stealing his soul.
That's fair.
Every time, but he's super stoked after he gets out of the bath and he's all dried and he's like, "Oh, I actually feel really good." It's like, yeah.
If you
do. You also smell not like a butthole.
Yeah. If you just let this happen, it would have been way easier than what you decided was going to happen.
We give him a bath about once every month and a half or so.
Oh yeah, my dogs get way further in between because they are both. When I say that Artemis likes to clean herself, she is obsessive about her own cleanliness, and that's just sort of a Shiba thing, period. I'm pretty sure. Apollo's not so clean, but Artemis
likes to roll in the dirt / grass in the backyard, as well as whenever you go on a walk, he must walk through or under every bush or low-hanging tree.
That's fair. I understand how that feels. I too often find myself walking underneath the bushes. I don't actually, but for the sake of this particular gag, I do.
It sort of worked.
It sort of did, almost, kind of. So, you guys can see I just mixed a little bit of scale color white into our Adriatic blue. So now we're just going to keep pulling more and more white into this, and then once we've got it kind of at least part way there, we'll go through and do some of the black lining on this, or some of the hard shadows. But in the meantime, gonna keep just thin layers. Obviously, you guys can see just how thin the paint actually is on here, and just little spritzes to let it dry. Slow, small, slight layers. This is just, we're painting Space Marine armor, so it is kind of a slow process, unfortunately. Good news is that when you're spraying it this thin and it's this hot outside, dries up quick.
It was actually, it wasn't too bad today. It was pretty windy in Airdrie. We never actually did get that thunderstorm. It seemed like it broke up before noon.
It's building in again, so who knows?
It noticed it building off to the east.
Yeah, who knows? All I can say is that there is a giant storm system that was building up on the Rocky Mountains this morning, and I don't trust that it's gone. So.
Totally fair. I mean, it was like, it was like we thought we were gonna get shut down by like noon, and then at lunch we were like, "Hey, where did this very black spot go?"
Yeah, even when I took the dogs for a walk this afternoon after work, it was still relatively bright and light outside. So I was like, okay, well, I guess the answer to are we having a giant thunderstorm day was no.
Yeah, like we didn't have. There was supposed to be a thunderstorm yesterday. We got hail over here. That was about it.
Yeah, we got a couple of like big thunderclaps. It rained really like big fat raindrops a couple times, but otherwise it was just like of a day. It was like, man, I shall call this Monday. And I was like, well, I'm not really a fan of this version of Monday, but this is could be much worse.
Could have been a terrible Monday,
right?
And I haven't had a bad Monday for actually. I do remember the last bad Monday I had. The guys at work, and I refer to it as Mulch Monday, when they got to meet not fun work at them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was shoveling a mulch by hand by myself for the majority of the day, and then getting yelled at for other people not doing their work.
Well, I can only say that
apparently going too slow. It's like, why does it take so long? Like, it's just me. I'm the only person doing this. Where happened to all your helpers? You took them away to plant trees and edge beds.
That seems like a shitty day. I'm sorry that day happened to you.
I was also hangry that day because I didn't make a sandwich and thought like an extra apple and 3 extra granola bars to cut it. No,
it did not.
It absolutely did not. I was pretty hangry that day.
That's fair.
And I mean, I was also getting yelled at. So I was like, I don't really like today.
That seems to have conspired to make a crappy day. This is just, I'm adding more and more white to our base colors, so that Adriatic blue, we're adding more and more white into it just to get our whites up. Just getting our whites up, so let's add that to the old airbrush. This will probably be the last one where I have a mixture of colors. After this, we're just going to go straight white here and get all of our nice Space Marine armor, our Apothecary armor. I really do like using incredibly saturated colors like this on, especially on this model. Like on an Emperor's Children, I feel like you can't not do the like incredibly saturated versions of shadows and whatnot, so I don't know. Maybe it's just how I interpret Emperor's Children. I'm like, if this guy's gonna be anything, it's gonna be a combination of flamboyant and perfect. So let's get that flamboyancy up to 11. And how do we get our flamboyancy up to 11? Bright colors.
Saturation.
Well, I wouldn't say oversaturation, but definitely lots of saturation. Lots of
Cool.
nice saturated colors.
My Liber Daemonica stuff is finally in Canada.
Ooh, neat.
It took a month to get from Russia to Canada.
Well, I mean,
I ordered
global
it
pandemic?
on... Yeah, that's true. And I mean, I get stuff from hardcore minters knowing full well that's from Russia, and like, the fact that this updated after it left Russia, it's just blowing my mind right now. Because Russian Post Ed does not like... It's like Russia. It doesn't really like anybody else outside of Russia.
Could be USPS. You just never hear from it once it leaves the US. They're like, it has left our borders. We don't care.
Oh, that's usually what Russia Post is like.
Fair enough.
Like, usually it's like, hey, it's left the Russian Federation. Cool, you gonna give me updates? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No updates for you. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm just happy because I got all my stuff from Green Stuff World this weekend, so or late last week. So, got some tasty stuff from them for our for my army project here. So
That explains
about
the two different bases you sent me.
yeah, I haven't. I'll show them here in a little bit on the stream. I haven't really talked too much about that, but we'll talk a little bit about it on stream. I'm sure that everybody here is at least interested in what's going on there. So give me a few more minutes to finish up this base coating this white armor. Then we'll talk a little bit about what went on there. Because yeah, not all that stuff is Green Stuff World stuff either. A lot of it is Steve decided to try and sculpt things to greater and lesser extents, and sometimes I used a bunch of bits, and then a lot of it is just accumulated ground cover that I've had from basing other stuff. So it was fun. So you can kind of see where we're at with Mr. Bile. Maybe. There we go. We can sort of see where we're at. I'm probably going to go one step brighter now that I'm looking at him. I'm probably going to go one more step brighter. Not to pure white yet, but to a very close to pure white color. Just because I want to get to that sort of color before we start doing the black lining on the armor. So just take a second here, wipe or get this all dried off. I don't know. I feel like the aquamarine Adriatic blue / white combo is giving us a really nice clean white. You can see here this is a pure white, whereas you can see his armor is a little bit more bluish still, and that's fine. That's actually kind of where we want to end up. I just want to go one more step brighter on that armor. Actually, I'm going to swap this out now. This scale 75 doesn't do the greatest job, so I'm going to switch out to my golden acrylics. This is heavy body acrylic paint. Just going to use a little dibbity-doo off of the old tube. Mix that into our currently existing color. And then we'll thin it down for the airbrush too, because it feels like the thing to do. That might be a little bit bright, but we'll see how it turns out here in a second. I know that the So the great thing with like golden paints, especially the high end golden paints and the single pigment golden paints, is that they do actually show you on the outside of the box, so you guys can see, or sorry, on the outside of the tube, you guys can see on the outside of the tube. That's actually somebody takes the actual batch of paint that is going into the tube and does that. So they take a batch sample and smear it on the outside of the bottle to show you what the coverage and color and clarity is like. So and pigment grain and all the rest of it. Sorry.
So considerate of them.
Well, I feel like it's a good idea because if there's one thing I hate about miniature paints in general, it's that they just feel like they feel like you should do the guessing game thing. Like, you know, it's not like scale color. The only one that really does it well is watercolor, and I can't justify waiting for 4 months for stuff to come from Greece. No, not Greece. It's the little island in the middle of the Mediterranean that was fighting a civil war, so Canada had to sit on a wall for 3 years with peacekeepers. And I know I'm minimalizing Cyprus. Thank you.
I was gonna go with Crete first, but then when you said the Civil War thing in Canada sitting on, I was like, oh, that's Cyprus.
Yeah. And I was thinking Crete the entire time too, because Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. At any rate, like if we take a look at the scale color stuff, it's just random. Like it doesn't tell you what the coverage is like. It doesn't tell you what its like transparency is like or anything else. Like it doesn't even give you a dry color for the actual paint itself. It's just like, this is fuchsia, and it's like, okay, well that's cool. But like golden paint, especially in the single pigment stuff, is actually really good about telling you what its cover or showing you what its coverage property and all the rest of it is like, which is super helpful when you're standing at the store and it's like, well, I have this magenta and this magenta. Which magenta do I want? Aside from
dry in like the shade I want.
Yeah, I mean, like you can always mix colors and stuff to get other properties out of them, but like, you know, like if I'm gonna choose between this phallus blue and this phallus blue, like, or Flathio, I'm gonna butcher that name. Let's go with a different one. If I'm gonna take this red ochre versus this red ochre, like which one is the one that I actually want? And what properties have you guys mixed it for? Because they choose the properties for these paints inside of the factory, right? Like it's not an accident that scale color is as matte as scale color is. It's a design property that they were looking for. So if they make those choices, they should at least broadcast that that's the choice they've made on the outside of the box. Like that feels like the least they could do. That's
nice. What I mean with Citadel,
Citadel is not a paint company. Citadel is a marketing department for GW. But
they're paints anyway. I used to get in the habit of painting the whole like round top of the cap in color.
Yeah, that's fair.
So then it's like, that's what it's going to be like. Here's an example.
Yeah, I was going to do the same thing when I was using Vallejo colors because, like, you know, you use brown violet once on something and you're like, oh, that's a really nice color. And then like 8 months later, when you're looking for that perfect muddy green that I hadn't taken notes about because at that point in time I didn't take notes about my own painting, and you go back to look for it and you're like, how did I do that, right? And there is nothing that saves you at that point in time. There's no guide. Like, you're looking for a color called brown violet and think that it's going to come out green, unless you are actively serving in the Canadian military. No one would make that connection. I'm sorry, no one would. No one at all. Brown violet, just in case anybody was wondering, was the official color for the Canadian Armed Forces army uniforms. Sorry, but it was our army rank forces uniforms for like since between World War II and up to the end of the peacekeeping era when we had to go to NATO digital camos. That was the main color.
The Canadian OD green.
Yeah, that color is called brown violet, which it is neither brown nor violet, but is instead a shade of like muddy green brown. And no one would ever guess that is what that color is called. No one ever.
For any of those Americans watching, We were talking about the Canadian version of the OD green.
Yeah, the Canadian. Well, the Americans stopped using it sooner because they swapped fatigue colors after Vietnam. If I remember correctly.
Early 80s, the M82 pattern, the classic Woodland.
Yeah. Whereas I think that all the way through peacekeeping service, like all the way through the 90s until we were forced to take the NATO digital, we were still using the same fatigues, basically.
That Canada did the NATO digital, and then the Americans were like, hey, that's a good idea, and just changed the colors.
Well,
Steve Marpat.
That's fair. So, just to...
At least it wasn't the weird gray one.
This is true. Although, yeah, well, I'm not a service member, so I'm not going to comment too much on it. So you can see we got a little bit of overspray and stuff onto the cloak. I don't care because those are going to be much, much easier colors because we are going to be doing basically skin colors for the cloak. The cloak's going to be its own set of colors. That's fine. I'm cool with that. It's going to be its own set of colors. So it's going to live on its own. So yeah, we have some overspray, but otherwise we kind of got it to an off-white still. Like we're not still too brilliant white. So if we look for like bright white on the front of the chest here, you can still see some brilliant white. It is definitely not the same color that you're seeing on other parts of the model. So those bright white portions, we're gonna leave that just for adding highlights and stuff to this armor. But for right now, I'm going to put some gloss varnish on this guy so that we can get it, some black lining or some deep contrast, some deep shades in there. And I like using, specifically, this is the one place where I actually like using contrast colors, is getting deep shadows on stuff. So we'll get some deep shadows. Maybe we'll start working on some of the joints in the armor and stuff. Maybe some of the armor trim. What do we think for this apothecary, man? So this is a good question for you. Apothecaries typically have white armor, white trim, right?
Yeah, and it's generally only their left shoulder pauldron that has any color, that being the chapter color and symbol, and their right pauldron is all white and has the apothecarion symbol.
Yeah.
That's generally, there's, there are a few chapters that do have their own take where they just don't subscribe to like the different
I'm thinking like
units in the Wolf Priest, where they're both apothecary and
chaplain.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. They actually there's one Wolf Priest, which is their named one.
Yeah.
It's suspected to be like older than Dante, but no one really knows because there's no answer to it. Like he was the one who recruited the missing Great Wolf, Logan Grimnar. He recruited him into the Space Wolves, and then also recruited Ragnar Blackmane like 600 years later, and he was already a Wolf Priest, like chaplain.
Rune Priest.
Rune Priests are their librarians.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Wolf Priests are the guys with they always wear the hound skull helmet.
Yeah.
Until the new one.
I always wondered what the difference between those guys was, so thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, so apparently, I can't actually remember the Rune Priest's name. Someone will rip me apart in comments for this. But yeah, it's rumored that he recruited Logan Grimnar, who, when he went missing, was like 900 years old.
Yeah.
And then, years later recruited Ragnar, because I think Ragnar was only like 150. He's not very old. But super scary.
At 150 years old, I hope I'm dead. Or that I have a kick-ass robot body. So...
Yeah, or someone makes you like a post-human Superman, I guess. I know, the whole process of becoming a Space Marine sounds like it would suck.
Agreed. Sorry, yeah. I'm playing with the old hairdryer here so that we can get this done up before we start talking about the news.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so the wolf, I can't remember his name. I should actually look it up. I do have the internet here. But yeah, he's suspected to be like around the same age as Dante, or like far older, but no one can get an answer out of the Space Wolves because they just don't care.
Listen, if I was gonna give any sort of love to the Space Wolves, which I don't, because Magnus did nothing wrong. Okay, Magnus did plenty of things wrong, but being murdered by the Space Wolves is not something that he did wrong.
He wasn't actually murdered. He escaped.
He escaped by becoming a demon prince. That's not really like the type of escape that most people should aspire to. So you can see Fabius is now very shiny in particular parts. Obviously, I didn't cover the whole model in the gloss varnish because we don't need the whole model covered in gloss varnish right now. Like, we're just doing the armor for now. So let's limit our spraying of all over the place to where we actually need it. And then we'll start putting some of the deep shadows in using our Achillean green. But before we do any of that crap, you know what we are going to do?
News.
All right, boys. What you got? What's up here first? Why are we looking at the legend of the Great White Squig?
Okay, that was actually like kind of a bonus part of this one for me because I'd only we'll get to the Great White Squig in a moment, even though we have to go. We're gonna scroll down to that new Orc Boy.
Oh, you mean this new Orc Boy?
Yeah, I mean that new Orc Boy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we're looking at this because they announced new Orc Boys because they also got it leaked at the same time?
Yeah, but, you know, I really like this mini. I like how they fixed the pose. The pose on the old Orc Boys, for all those who have seen them, is like, it's terrible. It doesn't...
Oh, come on. Our angry space fungus can look silly as heck. But you're right, this is a much better pose.
It didn't like belay like the correct size that, like, in the fluff you hear about orcs being like standard Orc Boys, like almost the size of a Space Marine. Knobs are like the size of Terminators, and so forth and so on. And it doesn't convey that size in a good way. I don't know how this one will. I imagine it will. Kind of Games Workshop's trend right now to being kind of rescaling everything to like more of a true scale heroic is what I'm going to call it, because they were 28 mil heroic before.
Yeah.
For those who don't know what the heroic means on the end of that, it means everyone's buff. Everyone is just like Arnold.
Big faces, big hand. Yeah, big faces, big hands, really tiny shoulders for some reason. Anyway.
Yeah. The one thing I don't like about the Orc, I don't like how they got rid of like the massive underbite. So, for those who were watching the stream early, like our early episodes, I may have heard reference to Krork quite a bit. And I have a theory.
What's your theory? Spill it.
So the way Krork work now that they defeated the Necrons, with the Necrons awakening and Chaos kind of taking over, they were created to stop both of those forces. Like, that's why Chaos can't corrupt orcs.
Yeah.
That's why they can fight and overwhelm the Necron, because they are essentially self-propagating. You can kill an orc wog on a planet. 100 years later, that planet is going to be infested with orcs. The only way to get rid of it is to exterminate it. And I'm pretty sure. I could say I'll say that would kill orc fungus or fungi, whatever. But yeah, I think that as they're like the potential for like the Great Wog, like they're essentially their like jihad begins. There's actually a couple modern Krork in 30k and 40k. There's one in the Fabius Bile book, but he's in like a stasis tank and he's 15 meters tall.
So when you say Krork, hang on, let's just explain it to everybody. What's a Krork?
A Krork is what the orcs were originally designed to be. That's right, designed. The orcs are not a natural species. They were created by the Slan or the Great Old Ones, call it what you will, to fight the Catan and their henchmen, the Necrati, who then became the Necrons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the average Krork warrior was 15 meters tall. For the Americans, times that by 3.3.
I'm gonna blow your mind. Hang on. Before we get any further, I want to show you the scale on these because there's some leaked photos of the new boys. So if you check it out on stream now, it's not actually on Warhammer40,000.com. This is a stolen image somewhere from the internet. But these are our new Cadian shock troopers, and these are also our new orcs. So these are the Cadians with the upgrade kit.
Yeah. Oh man,
you
you
can
really
see
like that upgrade kit. You can see all the different heads and stuff.
You can see the new heads. You can see the new arm poses too. So that guy in the back with the bare arm. But you can also see our boys, and they are quite a bit bigger than our shock troopers here, like than our flashlight wielding morons here. So that is that, and specifically, if we go back, so this is our orc with his like weird sort of Tommy gun going on. There he is right there. So we are looking at some sort of sergeant equivalent, I'm pretty sure, just because the rest of our boys are shirtless. I don't know that he's a knob. He is a boy. So I think he's just he's just the
because every group of boys needs a knob to lead it.
Okay, well, yeah, there you go. So but yeah, so and then you got our shirtless boys here. So I have a feel neither of those. The gun seems familiar on this guy, but they're both definitely new sculpts because there's no orc.
Still very reminiscent of the classic orc shooters.
Yep, for sure. I'm excited because I specifically started doing the Blood Bowl thing because the orcs in Blood Bowl were so much better than all of the other orcs, other than the fantasy Age of Sigmar. What's it called? Sorry guys, I've got a headache tonight, so I'm a little slow thinking of things. The heavily armored ones. Iron Jaws. There we go.
Yes.
But yeah, so yeah, I'm excited. They look like they're in a variety of poses. They look like they've actually got running poses. I'm a little sad that they're not probably going to be multi-part boy kits. It looks like they're going to be fairly heavily posed, but meh, I'll take what I can get. I mean, if you get a choice.
If this is like what the Space Marine and the Necron, like all the bigger Blu-ray boxes are, they're all gonna be the quick assemble stuff, like very limited pose. And then when the actual like individual sets come out, they will be the multi-part kits.
Yeah, even the new like intercessors and stuff aren't all that multi-pose. Like it's not like it was before where you can choose sort of like poses with stuff. It always requires like this stuff requires some fiddling now when you want to do different like or different poses than what they come stock in, which is okay. I mean, it does. Listen, the Orc Boys kit is so old that like, thank you for updating the boys kit. Now update the Eldar. But anyway,
please update the Eldar.
Let's get some Banshees.
Dark Eldar got some love like more recently than the Eldar did.
Yeah, they got that whole release in 7th with the homunculus and all the rest of it. So they did actually, like, the paint engines and the homunculus and all that stuff came out in 7th edition. So the homunculi coven book, right? Like, they got their own codex and a whole bunch of models when that came out. So the Talus paint engine, the homunculi, the Medusae, and something else. Well, and they've gotten like heroes and stuff since then too. Like they've got new archons and
they actually got like new archon kit.
Yeah, but I'm stoked for new boys. These are not snaggas. These are just straight up boys. The rest of this with the Legend of the Great White Squig is also like it's talking more about our snaggas. So the Beastniggas.
It is. He's a member of the Snakebite clan.
Yeah, I really like what they're doing with this artwork. I'm really excited to see this. I'm really hoping that this is a kit that they're about to announce because, first of all, the robo arm on an Orc Boy or on a Orc Boss is great.
I love that arm. I love his predator claw weapon.
Yeah, I love the new symbol that they've got for this chapter. I love the new like snake thing, like tattoo that he's got. That's super cool. Like, I also love that there's just it's not even a revolver. It is literally just a hand cannon. Like, it is basically a flintlock pistol. It's not like he's got like multiple bolts inside of the chamber there. He's got one, like, yeah, at any rate, I love this. It is silly. I'm sure that the orc thinks this is a revolver, so it's probably got 6 shots, but like, I love this. I love the artwork. I'm really hoping that this is going to be a part of the Snaggas, if not right on release soon after. So I'm excited. Man,
Snakebite clan? Snakebite's one of the old clans. I don't remember. I'm down on my orc clan knowledge.
Yeah, I'm not huge into lore of. I'm trying to learn AOS lore right now. I have watched a lot of 40k lore, but I don't know much about the orcs in particular. This is the thing, and I don't think I'm the only one who finds this. Getting into 40k lore is hard because there's no good place lore to just get in, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Moving on in the news. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, just even the canon stuff in 40k doesn't make sense because the canon changes. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying. I really am. I think I've got most of most up to date in the Astartes, but like even the rest of the Imperium is just a black hole to me. So, basically anything that's not the 20 chapters, well, the 9 chapters that are, loyalist, I'm basically lost on. But I got another thing. I added some more into the news. So our second thing, I'm really excited for this game. So this is a game called Reign in Hell. Yes, it is more towards the fantasy end of news, but I forgot to cover it last week, and I really think we should have. Do you know hobby cheating on YouTube or Tabletop Minions?
Tabletop Minions, yeah.
So this is Uncle Adam from Tabletop Minions and Vince Venturella of Hobby Cheating got together and decided to make their own miniature agnostic, so you can bring any minis you want, skirmish game. And basically the idea of it is that you bring together your demons and it's all to do with base size. So you have one dude who has a giant base size and then a bunch of dudes who have smaller base sizes. And that's all you do is those two teams fight each other. It is a really lightweight game. Like when I say like a lightweight game, it's like 5 minutes worth of rule teaching. But it is actually like, there is some complication to it. Like there is actually some, like, you could legitimately get some depth out of the game. So it's not just a like, oh, like put in for like, there's legitimate tactical depth. A lot of it has to do with positioning and table positioning and stuff like that. So I'm excited to, at some point in time, maybe try this game. I've read through the rules. I've watched Uncle Adam has done, Tabletop Minions has done a couple of movies on it. Vince Venturella has done a couple of YouTube vids on it. I'm excited for this. I'm really proud that, or happy for them that they managed to get a game out, because Lord knows it's hard enough to get anything done. But through the pandemic, they managed to publish a game together, so that's super cool. But yeah, that was my second bit of news. Adam, do you want to fight in hell?
Yeah, this game looks amazing. Makes me want to get some. Honestly, I would probably just get some Khorne Bloodthirsters and such. I do really love the Khorne Daemon look.
Yeah, the one that I really want to do as far as a set of demons is oh boy, now I'm gonna mess up the name of the miniatures company. This is the problem with headaches, ladies and gentlemen. At least for me, I stopped being able to think basically at all. They do the Monarch of Grief. It's bothering me now. It's one of the major miniature creature caster. There we go. Goodness me. Creature caster does they do alternate sculpts for all of the like regular like your bloodletters and bloodthirsters and like your Slaneshi demon princes and all the rest of it. They just have alternate takes on all that stuff. So it's like I think anguish, decay, ecstasy, and rage, I think, are the 4 demons that they do it on. But it's basically your GW princes, so
They have
or GW gods. Sorry?
yeah, they actually have quite a few.
Oh yeah, no,
cool.
there's way more than that in the creature caster library, but like I really like their aesthetic that they chose for all of them. Like they are really cool minis, period. So
Because each one is Malefica. Then there's Desire next to you, which I guess you could say would be...
it's Slanesh.
Yeah, that'd be Slanesh. Queen of Ruin is its grandmother Nurgle, essentially.
Yep.
And then Korn is a lady, and she's the Queen of Onslaught.
Yeah. That's the other thing, is not all of them, but the ones that are the like replacements, the god replacements, are all female, which I think is fun. It's a cool way to do those reinterpretations, and that's why you get like they're mostly female. As far as like, I think almost all of the whatchamacallit, all of the demons are female.
Yeah,
I think there is like 1 or 2 that are dudes, but it's like very, very much not the focus.
Yeah. Yeah, the Tzich one, the Tzich god looks male. But he's mostly a weird mutating corpse thing, so I have no idea.
Yeah. So mutating corpse thing seems sort of dude-like. Sorry, I forgot.
Patriarch Onslaught looks amazing.
Yeah, so there are a few that, like I said, like the Patriarch of Onslaught is one of the like male ones.
Yeah. Oh, there's the Death Element.
So I'm just adding a little bit of I threw some glaze medium into our contrast paint here. I'm also going to put a little bit of water in here. Just a tiny amount. Well, maybe not so tiny an amount, but an amount. Then we're going to paint this into our... That's a little too light, so I'm going to grab some more Achillean green. This is Achillean green, which is the bluest green I've ever heard of, but it is... You can see it there in the palette, or in the cup. The reason why I'm using the cup for this stuff, as opposed to, say, putting it on the wet palette, obviously when I was dumping it into the airbrush, that's one thing. But now that I'm putting it, the reason why I'm mixing it here is because it'll always accept way too much water when I'm putting it on the like wet palette. So you guys can see, I'm just right now running it into the bottoms of places. And the reason why we did that gloss coat before we did this is because now I can just wipe things up where I don't want them to be. So rather than having to deal with, much bigger issues of cleanup and all the rest of it, you guys can see how well that's running. I guess I can get a little closer here. So we can see how well that just runs into the corners of the armor, as opposed to staining the top surfaces of the armor. Because we really do want to keep that like nice pure white color as much as we possibly can, but we do also want to do nice dark recesses on the stuff where we either have joints in the armor, so like where the legs are joining up against the trim there. And then I can also be a little bit more broad with it in like large areas, so where we're doing like, say, under the foot there, and we want it to fade down into the bottoms. Cool, not a big deal. You just let it drift a little further over the surface, and gravity will help us get that stuff down where we want it to settle. So not too big a deal here. Now, you could say that this is cheating, and I would agree with you, but why wouldn't we cheat? This is a much easier way of working than getting all uppity about, using a variety of harder to use substances. Let's just do it the easy way, because the easy way is easy. rather than trying to murder ourselves with the hard way. I mean, there are merits in certain circumstances to doing things the more difficult way, but like typically it's when there's no other way to achieve them. This way, there is definitely an easier way to achieve them, so let's use that definitely easier way to achieve them. All right, so gonna keep moving around the model. One of the big places that I want to make sure I darken down is just the area joining, or that is separating Fabius's limp, gross hairdo from the armor at the back there, just because that's going to be really hard to get later on.
His hair is super gross.
Oh yeah, we are going to get to have fun when it comes down to painting it, because we get to a hairstyle that doesn't appear basically ever in GW models. The limp, greasy hairstyle is not something that exists in much of the 40th millennia or 41st millennia. So I'm excited to get to paint Fabius Bile's hair, because the limp, gross hairstyle is something that Fabius Bile pretty much singularly rocks in the 41st millennia. So that makes me excited and happy to get to paint it, because it's just something different. If guys have been watching the the dwarf series, we gotten to paint a lot of silky smooth, glorious beards and mohawks last week as well. But we haven't gotten to do a whole lot of greasy, disgusting dude hair.
Sure, he's the most greasy, disgusting dude in 40K, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, in a lore that is full of its share of weird dudes, Fabius Bile has got his own brand of weird that he wears proudly. Don't be Fabius Bile's brand of weird. It's not a good brand of weird. It's not a brand of weird that you should be aspiring to, unless you are trying to steal the gene seed from the corpse in a chair. Then you know what? Go ahead. You know what? I take that back. If you are trying to steal the gene seed from a corpse in a chair, if the greasy hairdo gets you there, go for it.
Don't forget the people skin coat.
Listen, I wasn't so much forgetting about the people skin coat as I was just going to ignore it until we were painting it at some point in time, and then I would have to reconcile the people skin coat, because he is definitely wearing a people skin coat. And I'm gonna probably keep it a people skin coat. What do you think, man? Should we change it up so it's some sort of Xeno skin coat? Or I mean, we could make it a Xeno skin coat, no problem. Like, it could be made of a variety of the Emperor's enemies. Like, it could be squares of Tau and orcs, and like, you know, Untamed Bulgrin, and I don't know what else. Drukhari. I mean, Drukhari skin isn't all that much different from, and Aeldari skin isn't all that much different from like regular human skin tones, but like it's different enough.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's different enough that you would be able to. Those in the know would be able to tell the difference.
Yeah. So okay, well, I'm perfectly willing to make that a thing if that's what how we feel in chat. Is that something we should explore? Making it a Xeno skin coat instead of a people skin coat on our Fabius Bile here. Also, shout out to you if you're watching right now. I really appreciate you guys being here, because, you know, more fun when I mean, Adam, I love you, but like I also have fun when chat's involved.
No, I get that. I also
Yep. Also, that is about how I'm feeling. God,
sorry,
it's been a day for me too, man. Just the like constant pressure changes today have really led it to being like literally zero cognitive process most of the day. So I feel you.
I just scrolled to a meme that I felt really deeply into the depth of my soul.
Is it about Batman? Because I've been loving the past couple of days, well, the day and a half of Batman memes that have been coming out. Because oh boy.
Not about Batman. It's about dogs
Okay, okay. I also
and,
like a
and,
dog meme.
and guns. Two things I love.
That's fair. That is fair. I do
Razor
love
lace
shooting guns.
balls are being left in parks to target dogs. And then the bottom just says my AR-15 story. Why I need an AR-15. I'm not gonna lie. If I caught someone like poisoning stuff for dogs or like putting razor blades in tennis balls, I'll probably go to jail.
It seems an AR-15 seems like an unnecessary reaction to that. Also, why would the people still be around if they were poisoning dogs with like? Why would they hang out being like, hee hee, look at how evil I am? Like,
people are also stupid. I mean, me saying I want a semi-automatic rifle.
Like, it only takes one shot to kill somebody. I'm not sure what you're gonna do with the other 14 rounds in that clip, but
it's Canada. I'd only have 4 more rounds.
sorry. Yes, my bad. Our 5-round mag limit, which is a good thing. I'm not gonna get down on the 4-round limit or 5-round limit in rifles.
Yeah, I'm up until last spring. There was some of our gun laws I didn't agree with, but I mean they made sense. I get it. The knee-jerk reaction we had last spring, I didn't get because like there was coffee on that list.
There was what?
Anyway,
Oh, are you talking about Trudeau's long arms or the automatic weapons registry?
no, automatic weapons have been banned since the 80s.
No, I mean like
his long gun registry by any other name, and also is like just prohibiting a bunch of guns because they look scary. I mean, on that entire list in Canada, only one of those weapons had ever been used in a shooting.
yeah, fair enough, but we don't need to wait until after somebody's dead to make a law either. You and I are going to be on very different sides of this, even though I probably love shooting guns more than you. I really do. I love guns. I have sat down and shot 2,000 BB gun rounds in a day. So like, and they were single loads. Like, it's not like I was like dumping a whole bunch of BBs in. Sorry, pellet gun, not a BB gun. I love shooting. Sorry,
the old crack barrel.
Oh yeah,
where you just, I love those things. Those things are the best.
Yeah, I've gone through like 2,000 rounds in a day. I love shooting weapons. I have
so
spent
many murdered pop cans and coffee cans.
Pop cans, coffee cans, tree limbs, seeing whether or not I could shoot what the maximum effective range of my weapon was when, you know, the wind would carry it after the first 100 yards kind of a deal. Using iron sights to see if I could shoot fence posts from, 400 feet away. At any rate, I love shooting guns. I entirely understand why we don't want most people, including myself, having guns. The number one person who gets hurt when you own a weapon is, the number one victim is the gun owner, because suicide. Guns are used for suicide. They are used for suicide. That is their primary purpose. If you just look statistically at what we use guns for, it's not to stop people from committing crimes. It's not for, weird dramatic power fantasies. It's not even in war. It's to commit suicide, which is bad. We should probably make it harder to commit suicide so people have to take a second to think about it. Just saying.
Yes and no. At the same time, I completely get where you're coming from on this, and I agree with you. There are certain people we don't want to have guns, but I'm also against knee-jerk reactions at the same time as they pass something that completely defeats, that just makes it weirder. So he did the whole semi-auto AR or AR style rifle ban and all that, and there was when I read the whole thing, by the end of it, it was just really dumb. They were banning like 81 millimeter Chinese mortars. I really wish we would have known those were apparently legal before now.
Yeah, I like closing loopholes like that too, though. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Well, I mean,
I miss the days where I was allowed to go and shoot my mortar at people, but like,
but at the same time, there was also another one where they lessened criminal charges for like gang-related like firearms crimes, specifically for ones with I guess you'd call a ghost gun, the black market firearms. So I got way too into it at the time when it was more relevant. Now I'm just kind of like, there's out of like all the guns I would like to own at some point in my life, that changed one. I like cowboy guns; they're neater.
yeah, I like long rifles. I mean, I've out of the weapons that I've actually fired, let's see.
Actually, there's one that has been banned for years that I really wish I could get in Canada. It's an FAL. Those things are beautiful.
Yeah,
And baby proof. That is a color of green.
Yep. Out of all the weapons that I've actually shot, the one that I probably have the most rounds through is just like a Beretta 9mm. It was a Beretta. I lose the name of it now. Was it a P22?
Like the classic Beretta?
No, it's not like a 1911 or anything like that. It's look it up.
Smaller,
it's just a small 9mm because that's the cheapest ammo I can buy close by. So like, obviously it's 9mm ammo. Like it's cheap. Period. Just to talk about the model here, so you guys can see sort of where we're at with the model. I've gone through and done a lot of like really dark black lining as far as the rest of the model goes. That's just for panel separation. We'll come by now and do a lot of the cleanup and stuff with basically a pure white use. But first I'm going to spray it with a little bit of matte varnish, or matte varnish actually in this case. We're going to spray it with a little bit of matte varnish, just now that we've got some nice strong lines, some definition, some panel separation. We'll put the matte varnish on it, and then we'll start doing little bits of cleanup. And then we'll probably head for a break here in a little bit. Yeah, I mean, the most fun I've had shooting was probably the 1911. No, it was the Colt 45.
Like a single action army?
Yeah. No, the 38 special. Like the old wheeled gun, like, just because I was yelling, nope. Oh man, they're all like, it's fun. Like, there's no denying it. Shooting guns is fun. Because my next thought was, oh, but what about all those times where we were shooting from the hip and yelling redneck things? Just the most rednecky things we could possibly make. And I'm not talking like, don't mistake vaguely racist or intentionally racist with redneck. I'm talking about like, what are you doing with my daughter? And she's my daughter too. Kind of stuff. At any rate.
Having grown up in a redneck town, I completely understand what you mean.
But anyway, yeah, we were just shooting a 22 from the hip at like pop cans on a fence post, kind of a deal. That was tons of fun. Or like the Tommy gun. Like there's been like a number of things. Like Thompson submachine gun was a ton of fun. The 50 cal, like using the Beretta to like blow away part of a building, the 357 revolver to like detectives, or the 38 detective special to just like be an old timey cop and say like, put your hands up, me, and then blowing away a little green man target. Like it's all fun, but like, I don't know. I have definite feelings about what guns are good for, and most of them is so that the state can murder you more easily. Feels bad to say, but
I mean, not wrong.
Yeah, that's the disappointing part of it, is like most of the time when guns are used, it's so that first of all, the most common use of guns on a human being is suicide, and then like the next closest one is unfortunately war, and then it's cops using them on people. I mean, in non-lethal situations, it's by far most common for law enforcement to use them on civilians. So not great, not a great stat. We actually keep stats on that sort of stuff in Canada, so if you guys ever want to figure out for our American listeners how bad that actually is, Canada actually keeps stats because the NRA hasn't prevented our governments from doing so, unlike what happened in the States. So
Yep. Anyway, to change the topic from
guns, but guns are cool.
Yeah, guns are cool, and I really like guns. I agree with most of Canada's gun law, except for the recent mass banning, while like at the same time like making it easier for criminals to get away with crimes with guns. It's real weird. I don't really want to get into it because Steve and I will talk and argue about this for hours.
And that's what we're all here for, is to hear Steve and Adam argue about Canadian gun laws.
Yeah.
Are we at 0 viewers yet? We're at 3 viewers.
We during this we went up to 2 on YouTube.
Oh, nice. Well, there you go.
We're getting more. Anyway, so I was reading more about the orcs, and I was just coming across as like just reading like a list of like orc characters, because like who is there aside in 40k aside from like Gazkul and a couple of the other ones. I like there's I think like a named Mad Dog and stuff like that and whatever. But I came across one that's just called the Beast, and his only description before I clicked on his name is the war boss who nearly unified the orc race.
Yep.
Yeah. Apparently, what they think is that he was actually not one orc, but actually 6 prime orcs.
Okay.
Which are
is a prime orc like a Primarch except for Orky?
Yeah. They're essentially because the way orcs work is they continuously grow and evolve throughout their entire life. So the older an orc gets, the bigger and smarter he's gonna be.
Got to get some of that Morka in there to go with that,
Orca?
Yeah.
So prime orcs are described as monstrously powerful and intelligent war bosses, command a legion, possibly a clan, an entire clan of greenskins. However, the Primarch the Imperium encountered was larger than the others and nicknamed Beast of Beasts. This is in Millennia M32, so this is
Great Crusade times.
This is post Great Crusade.
Yeah, sorry, post Heresy times.
Yeah, this is post Heresy because it's actually Vulcan takes them on one.
Oh, this is Vulcan, the many wanderings of Vulcan, the Primarch who sort of did a good job.
Yeah, the Primarch wasn't like a total douchebag. I mean, it's a Space Wolf player. I love Liam Russ, but guy's a dick. Like he's just a dickhead.
Not the greatest daddy.
No, Vulcan at least tried to be good, like real hard. He got like he would flat out turn on Allied forces if they were just like killing civilians all willy-nilly and like collateral damage, and Vulcan would be like, let's kill them and then we'll kill the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was like, our job is to protect the people, not kill them. This is counterproductive. Anyway, so yeah, the beasts created the largest wog ever. It was so large it eclipsed the Ulunar Crusade, which was like the great, kind of like I would say it would be the climax of the Great Crusade. It was where Horus was named War Master after the Horus and the Emperor slayed the war boss and his entourage and cast him down from his the peak of his tower, and then wiped the orcs from the face of that planet, and then turned that planet into basically a giant parade ground.
Yep.
And then had a party for like a month.
Well, ain't no party like an Astartes party, because an Astartes party don't stop.
That is true, unless you're drinking with Space Wolves, because apparently if a human drank their version of mead, which they refer to as Majad, it's like MJ. OD.
Yeah.
It would be like if we drank jet fuel.
Well, as somebody who constantly has to fight the urge to drink jet fuel, I take this as a challenge.
Yeah. It was cool. He actually the beast came from like outside the galaxy.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. That's where Tyranids come from, and Tyranids are terrifying.
They are. Tyranids are honestly probably one of the scariest alien races ever created. It's just an unending horde of mouths.
Also, there are 5 like hive fleets in the galaxy of 40k, and like nobody seems to be that plussed about it. They're just like, all right, well, there are 5. Like, how do you ever stop screaming? At any rate, just my observation on that one. Continue.
So the beast was said to be 10 meters tall, encased inside battle armor, like a weird Orcus perversion of like a Primarch's armor.
Well, that sounds like a better version of Primarch armor, if I'm honest with you, but that's because I like the aesthetics of orcs.
Will not lie. Games Workshop really hit the nail on the head when they created both the fantasy and the 40k orcs. I really love how they look. When I think orcs, they're the orcs I picture. Also mixed with a little like more of the Warcraft orcs.
Oh, see,
like,
mine are still...
not Warcraft orcs, but like I should say Warcraft 3 orcs.
Yeah, see, when I close my eyes and think of orcs, I think of Lord of the Rings, so... them's my orcs. Good fighting Urukai are the ones that I think of when I close my eyes. Now I need a shirt that says, when I close my eyes, I think of the Urukai. At any rate. So right now, I'm just going through on the armor, and we're choosing either high points for the armor itself, so points where I want lots of reflection coming off the armor, like it is glinting in the light. But because we're using this really, really, really bright white, like this is titanium white, this is as white as we can paint, I'm trying to be pretty sparing with this and keeping this to areas that I want to have that sort of special amount of light to them. I'm also using it to add just a little bit of interest into the armors. I don't know if this is coming across, just little imperfections in the armor. It's still white on white, so it's not like hugely visible. And by white on white, I mean like our like nice little like light blue gradient with white scratches over top of it. And this is again just to give the idea that Fabius Bile is gonna look a little worn. Like he is an apothecary, yes. He is also like at the point of this story, he is at least 10,000 years old, isn't he? When did Fabius Bile first show up?
Fabius Bile is from 30k.
Yeah, so he's at least 10,000 years old, so it's one of those things that
yeah,
we're gonna give him a little bit of respect as far as like his look goes.
I'll be right back. It's still on.
And even though he is, even though he is a weird, super gross dude, we still want to give the impression that he is at least neato with our apothecariness here. So we're just working subtle texture into the model, knowing that he, at some point, even though he's got brand new like Mark X Primaris armor, like he's on his Mark 10 armor, yes, but also, like he is 10,000 years old, so maybe he's not super careful about his armor. He's seen this all before. He is immune to Belisarius Call's tricks of like, look at this fancy new armor I showed up with. Because, him and Cull have both been around for 10,000 years, and as much as Cull is a good guy in regular lore, so is Fabius in our version of lore. Like, he's an apothecary. He's a good guy. Look at him being a good guy here, with his good guy face, and we scratched off all of the chaos symbols on this armor. Also, I've got a couple of areas on this model where it is a little rough, right? Like it was really hard to pull the chaos symbols off, so the armor might be a little rougher than I wanted it to be in the end. That's fine. we'll do some battle damage on some of these areas and just sort of clean them up that way. So again, I'm not terribly worried about this stuff right now. I feel like we can continue to work on armor bits and just giving this some nice texture, as well as making sure that the highlights look nice. Again, with white, and especially using this white. So we're using golden titanium white, golden heavy body acrylic titanium white. The reason why we're using this white right now is because it covers really well and it doesn't get chalky as we mix it down with water, or it gets less chalky when we mix it down with water. Part of the bonus of it is that it doesn't get all chalky. Part of the problem with it is it does not in any way, like the medium in it does not match with the skeleton really match up particularly well on finish. As we complete the model here, I am really briefly gonna pull a little bit. So this is that same blue that we were using originally. So this is Adriatic blue that I just put onto the palette. I'm gonna pull some of that and some of our white here together. Just make a pretty light mix. I want to knock back some of the shadows that we put on here, but I also don't want to not knock it back with just straight white, because that'll look even weirder. So let's get a little bit of mix. And this is their opaque titanium white. There are a couple of different options as far as titanium white goes, especially when you get into the nicer levels of golden paint. There are student versions of the golden paint which aren't as nice. So just look for the higher quality stuff, or the not higher quality. Look at what you're getting on the bottle. It tells you straight up what it is. It's not going to lie to you. At any rate, it's going to knock back some of our shadows just so they are a little bit further into the recesses than what I left them at. The side of this foot, I'm just going to smooth up that shadow a little. Then here, where we're going to end up with battle damage on it at some point, I'll just tuck that back. Again, up here on, up here, just moving that back underneath of there. Then I'm going to come in, just nice white. Put right up underneath that, and then right here on the actual exhaust vent. I always thought of these, especially as a kid, I always thought of those as being like the jetpacky parts, but I learned not that recently, years ago, that these are actually exhaust vents, which is a little sad, if I'm honest. I kind of wish that they were jetpacks, but it makes more sense as exhaust vents, so we'll go with the exhaust vents, which is what they actually are.
Yeah, they're, because like the Space Marine backpack is like some sort of micro fusion plant.
Yeah, they are a nuclear reactor that they're just carrying around on their backs, like turtles, except for if turtles were nuclear powered. And now I want to make a chapter called The Nuclear Turtles.
That would be amazing.
Have their chapter colors actually be the 4 colors of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Okay, I want to paint a single Space Marine that is that for a joke at some point, and then never remember why I painted that stupid joke to begin with. Sometimes I like to have fun. So, with this dude, and I'm asking you because you have access to the internet, whereas I have access to a brush and paints, Adam.
Yes.
Should I be painting this part of his backpack white? Or should I be painting it some other color?
Are you talking about the weird disc thing?
Yeah, well, yeah, the weird disc thing in the middle of his back. And if I remember correctly, the actual Primaris Apothecary model is wearing some sort of cloak or something that is covering this part, if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong.
Let me just bring up that model.
Because if not, there is a minor part of me that is like, I should paint that hot pink because more hot pink. Oh, you weren't on here when I first started up. I ordered my paint. So we are getting some Pinkest Pink from Culture Hustle. So Stuart Semple, one of my favorite mixers of color, has a ridiculously pink color. I don't think it's called Pinkest Pink anymore. I think he's got a different name for it now. But he has an incredibly pink color that Anish Kapoor is not allowed to purchase. I'm going to purchase it, and I have no intention of giving any of it to Anish Kapoor.
Not sure. I can't hear you for some reason through Discord.
Odd. Can you still hear me on stream? Should be able to hear me through Discord and stream. That is very strange. I'm lighting up like I should be in Discord. I'm going to blame your side on this one.
Yeah, I can hear you on stream.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, I normally can hear you on... Yeah, Yeah, I can see you lighting up, it's just I can't hear you for some reason, even though it says you're not muted.
Gonna go ahead and blame your computer on this one. I know that I just have a regular Primaris backpack.
Yeah, I think that was fine. I was real far lean back typing, and yeah.
All right. Cool. That's different and new. I need to buy a new brush. But I was wondering, and maybe you found this, what color am I supposed to be? Canonically, what color should the backpack be? And then what color do we actually think the backpack should be? Adam has once again died. F's in chats for Adam. Oh, Adam is back from the dead, everyone.
Canonically, it should match armor color. On the... Yeah.
So matching armor color as in matching the shoulder pad color, or matching the white armor of an apothecary?
So that little disc in the middle, at least on the one image I'm looking at, the painter painted it gold because it also has like the little apothecarium symbol, so the weird DNA helix.
Yep. Also, boo earns to that. It's gonna be hot pink.
Well, I think we got some free reign on that part.
All right, what do you think? Hot pink, or do we paint it white? Brush is split.
Oh, hot pink.
Yeah, you going with hot pink? All right. I believe that we should paint it hot pink as well. So let's just go with hot pink and be done with it. That was great decision making, Adam. We did it. All right. Well, just before we go to break here, because we're
Speaking of stuff.
Yeah. Just before we go to break here, I'm gonna talk a little bit about what I've been doing outside modeling. I picked up, and by picked up, I mean my brother asked me to finish off the terrain for his train set. So I've been doing a bunch of work on that, and I would definitely show it to y'all. But unfortunately, it's about 3 feet across, and I can't figure out a camera angle that actually lets you guys see anything meaningful of it. Otherwise, I definitely would have been streaming that on Saturday. So I apologize that I wasn't live on Saturday, but that was what I was doing on Saturday. And then also, I've been working on some demo bases for my Cities of Sigmar army. So you guys can see here, we got 2 demo bases. We have what is called Base Reddish. Let's get Base Reddish on cam here. So this is Base Reddish. Maybe we can get it to, there we go. So you guys can see we're doing some work with some plants. We got some frost in there, some ice, working with some, definitely some snow textures. I'm still sort of trying to figure out where I'm going with the snow, especially with that nice white frost happening all over the place. So the frost, if anybody is wondering, this is a new one from Green Stuff World. It's called Green Stuff World Liquid Frost, and it makes cool frost crystals. So I was just testing that out, seeing how it works and where it grows and stuff like that. So these are obviously test bases right now. And then we have base 2. This is our bluish base. So still a lot of the same materials and stuff, just testing out technique and stuff like that. Again, I'm not certain that either of these are the finished product that I'm going to go with, but just figured I'd let you guys see some of what I've been up to over the last couple of days. So as much as I would love to show you the train set, it's unfortunately way too big to fit any of the camera angles that I can get without showing you basically just a lot of my bare pasty thighs. So I decided rather than making this into a pasty thigh stream, I would spare you guys all that. But yeah,
I can hear you through Discord again.
nice. I'm happy that you can hear me through Discord. So I'm going to take about 7-8 minutes or so. So we'll be back at 1:45. So we'll catch you guys in a few minutes. Hey everybody, we're back. You're back. We're all back together. So let's keep working on Fabius Bile here. So, let's talk a little bit about his arms, because we've also got little bits of armor on his arms. So we're just going to position the arms so that we've got some idea as to how they actually function, what their orientation is, so you guys can see. We got to do some work on those. So let's get into getting the work done on those boys as well. So I'm just going to remove Fabius from his little perch here. And yes, it probably would have been easier to paint with him not on that stuff and get these things mounted in a way that they're not going to...
Great idea.
Just the orange shack that painting handle. I like desk. Like, I've got a big writing pad on my desk that has a metal backer on it specifically so that I could use magnetized things on it. Because I like magnets. Magnets
are cool.
Magnets are cool. Fundamental forces are sweet.
If you listen to ICP, they're a miracle.
Listen, I don't think I've ever listened to any ICP other than the dating game when I was like grade 10 or so. Not that I don't like the idea of ICP, I just haven't really had much of an opportunity / chance to listen to much ICP, so.
Junior high, I had their first two albums.
That's fair.
They were, I mean, I probably listen to them now and no, that's okay. Not for me anymore.
That's fair. You're not a fan of Fago?
I've never had Fago, honestly.
I actually have. We carried it I used to own a grocery store, and we carried it in the grocery store because it was one of those, like, we're not Coca-Cola type products, and I was like, ooh, not Coke or Pepsi. And then we had a bunch of we gained a cult following from it because we were one of the ones in Calgary that actually carried it, and people were like, you guys carry Fago? And we were like, yeah, like, why not, kind of a deal. So I got to, make friends with juggalos, I guess. I mean, they're no weirder than any other subculture I've been a part of, so, like, man.
That's That's fair. Like I've met a couple juggalos that get really, really like offended if you say anything bad about the ICP.
I don't have much bad to say about ICP. The only people that I really have much period, most cops are not what I just described. They are in fact something else entirely. I've been told that some of you aren't super happy with me yelling ACAB all the time, so I'm gonna do it even more. ACAB.
Okay.
Listen, my stream, you guys have other thoughts on cops, I would love to hear them. But I've had my own experiences with the police and ACAB. Anyway, neither here nor there, I guess. I mean, it is kind of both here and there, but like, whatever. Whatevs. So we're just continuing. I'm gonna probably do the gloves in just a nice, like, supple looking leather of some sort. Probably a sort of neutrally to yellow leather. So that's going to be a different color than the white that they currently seem to be. But we will deal with that when push comes to shove. We will get that done. Or maybe we won't. You never know. Maybe I'll choose a different color by then. I'll have had different thoughts about colors on things, and we'll swap that color. But I have a pretty good feeling that those are just gonna end up being like a nice, warm looking neutral brown, yellow to neutral brown. So. And some of these areas that I know aren't going to get much exposure, so I'm talking about like the underside of his. Like the underside of the arms that aren't part of the arms that are facing the inside of the model. I'm not going to spend quite as much time on those, but I'm going to still spend a little bit of time to make sure that we caught them. And yes, there are a couple of secret chaos symbols still on him. So like on this shoulder or on this elbow here, there is still a chaos. There are chaos elements around his cane here. There are a couple of like the needle gun thing here. He's got one. That's fine. We're going to keep some of those around because Fabius, even though he is like in our no one has fallen to the ruinous powers, he might be experimenting. You never know. And if there's anybody that he's going to experiment with, it's probably going to be the Emperor's children. He just seems like that type of guy. Adam, are you creating a bunch of static for fun?
No, that was an accident. My apologies.
That's right. We'll all just blame you.
Okay. I didn't know I was going to create static, or I should have muted somehow when I unplugged my headset.
That's all right. We all survived.
I just rediscovered an old piece of hardware that I had from my previous job. And I was like, hey, I kind of want to change the position of where my mic cable comes from because...
Neat.
While typing in Primaris Apothecary.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I have like $400 worth of mounts and want to swap out the mounts for the camera when the new camera comes in. So I am still looking for a better solution for mounting my camera / mic, but for now I'm reasonably happy with where things are at. Someday I'll post pictures of the old setup, but today is not that day.
No, I'm just trying to... My desk has become very cluttered, and it's one of the things that's kind of stopping me from getting really into working on the Warhawks, is that it's just very cluttered. Or, I mean, even my cosplay, just because... Well, my cosplay, it's a lot of outside work right now. A lot of sanding and priming.
That's fair. I keep doing the dumb thing where I do the like sandy primey steps for stuff inside the house on the one desk that I'm currently using because I work and play at this desk, which is always a good idea. Like if you can ever cross where you do all of your activities and say put them in a single place, it definitely at no point in time leads you to be less productive because you might instead do the thing you enjoy instead of the thing you're paid money to do. I don't know who that would happen to, but if you are that
No idea.
person, good job. Excellent work. You're definitely living up to your full potential. It's me. I do that literally all the time where I'm like, I should be paying attention to this meeting, but also, what if I just put one more coat of paint on that? Listen, the meetings that I'm a part of are not generally meant for me. They are generally meant for my clients. Not trying to give myself too many excuses here, but like there are plenty of times where me zoning out is not the worst thing that could happen. Sometimes the worst thing that could happen is me paying too much attention and then repeatedly slamming my head on the desk while they discuss things that are not just like physically impossible, but morally impractical. We'll leave it at that.
Oh, I love those conversations.
So you want to do that thing, hey? Do you have any idea of the implications of the thing that you just suggested? No? Okay. Well, then, you know what? You do you.
I'm on my first watch through of whatchamacallit, the old Parks and Rec.
Oh, nice.
We're like 4 or 5 episodes into the last season, season 7. The one where Ron rings Leslie and Ben's doorbell at like midnight with a shotgun and the dead drone.
Project Morningstar?
Yeah.
You guys I assume you guys are past Morningstar at this point in time if you're on to yeah. Ron showing up and actually talking to Leslie. But
yeah, with a shotgun, because all the predictive software from Grizzle and data mining software.
I love the season before that where they start mentioning Grizzle and Tom is like, "What's a Grizzle dump?" And that is, you guys are taking hard on Grizzle. What's Grizzle dump? Sorry, I constantly feel like that when people are like, "You should be posting more to TikTok." I'm like, I have no idea how to. Like, I know I am on TikTok. You guys can follow me, Choice Minis on TikTok, but like nothing I do on there gets any sort of like traction. And I'm like, I don't know how to use this well enough to feel competent. If you guys really want to follow me, the best place on the internet to find me, follow my work, follow the other people that I really enjoy, definitely head on to Instagram, because Instagram and YouTube are the ones that I spend the most time mucking about on, having fun, talking to other creators, just genuinely enjoying the hobby and other people in the hobby. So yeah, you can follow me, Choice Gaming / Choice Minis on YouTube, Choice Minis with a Z. If you want to follow us on Twitch, I am Choice Minis basically everywhere. Adam, where can people follow you?
People can follow me on Instagram at beach_vacation_Mando. Yeah. I almost have my prototype Boba Fett helmet fully disassembled for parts use.
Nice.
I decided I'm not going to actually use any of the interior stuff because I found a creator on Etsy who basically makes like more accurate helmet interiors, like including like the Rebel pilot helmets, TIE fighter helmets, what Vader's helmet looks like on the inside, stormtroopers of all sorts, clone troopers, Mandalorians, of course.
Neat. Yeah. I love Etsy for that sort of stuff. There is a not insignificant part of me that really wants to get buy some of the Innova stuff. Have you ever gone to Innova's website?
No, I have not.
So Innova is they're as close to getting full accurate 501st ready stuff as you can buy on the internet. It is insane how Innova also gets access to screen use props pretty frequently, and it is insane how accurate their Star Wars, Star Trek costuming gear is. Like, it is, like, when I say it's insane, it's legitimately insane. Like, they have or I don't know if they have it right now. It's been a while since I've actually been to Innova's website, but like for let's see, they had like screen accurate casting and/or uniforms like a less than a week after like they had the Imperial Engineering Corps, like screen accurate Imperial Engineering Corps uniforms. So you know the guys in the slickers in Rogue One, like the guys who are standing outside when Orson Krennic decides to shoot them all. Yeah, they had those costumes accurately reproduced like a week after the move, like after Rogue One came out. And it's because they get access to screen used uniforms, right? Like they get access to screen props. So cool. Doesn't get much better than that, right? So like it's one of those things that they get some incredible access, and they do a really, really good job of reproducing that stuff. So yeah, if you ever get a chance and if you get extra thousands of dollars and really don't want to go through like the whole process of building your cosplay, yep. And when I mean like thousands of too many dollars, like if I remember correctly, the Imperial Officer belt is like $75 American. So like little bits that are very expensive, but also absolutely like 501st accurate. Like they are incredible quality stuff, but also come with a price they can match it, right? Like not much you can do about that, but like still. I always wanted to do 501st stuff, but I don't actually want to do a Stormtrooper. I'd love to do 501st Imperial Officer. Seems like my kind of speed.
Yeah, I'm on their Etsy store right now.
Yeah, they used to have like full on website and all the rest of it that they did for their own stuff. I don't know if it's still around or not, but if I remember correctly, it's just Innova.com, but I could be wrong. It's been a long time, a couple of years since I actually did a whole lot of exploration on there, so possible that's all changed up in the meantime. Sorry, I haven't talked much about the model here in a few minutes, but let's talk about it briefly right now. So I went through and did some of the black lining with our Achillean green again. So this is the same that we used for the black lining on the bottom parts of the armor on the on his body section. So again, just using black lining really to reinforce deep shadows. And now I'm coming in and blending that like deep shadow color with a thinned down version of our Adriatic blue. So this is again a blue green. I've got some here that's mixed with just some titanium white, and just sort of mixing that through, making sure that the armor itself still looks white. Like we want the armor to read as white. We don't want it to read as like a light blue. We want it to read as white, but part of that is also adding the shadows in. And since we're using these nice clean blue shadows, yeah, it's just where we're at on the model right now. Because that's really where we're at. I don't know.
How do you spell that? Innovu?
It should just be ANOVA. Give me 1 second. I will look it up because it's definitely in my browser history. Oh, it's Anovos. My bad.
S at the end?
ANOVOS. Woo! Look at that. They got a sexy Captain Kirk uniform. Hang on. I'll show you guys because I think this is fun.
Oh, man. Captain Picard Darmok uniform jacket.
Look at that. I was sorry. I'm showing everybody on stream too. Just sexy Kirk. Sexy Kirk. Yeah. Also, yeah, the Picard Darmok uniform. But if we go into Star Wars, I just briefly want to show people this. I'm already on this interest list. Excuse me. Yeah, you guys can see what the prices are. So, like, Rogue One Imperial Officer hat, $75. Yeah, $4,000 for full Kylo Ren on Kylo Ren. They always go through stages, so you can add stuff to interest. So they always produce based off of what the demand actually is. So Kylo Ren Premier Costume Ensemble with helmet, $4,000. So you go in, you do a pre-order. They
manufacture it, comes back to you. Or if it's lined. Shouldn't spend $800 on a jacket though. If that was an actual like lined jacket, we don't need to be looking at this on stream. You know, a couple years ago they actually made like replica Luke and Leia jackets from Ha that were like full like goose down and all the rest of it. That were like actually warm jackets, and they were only like $250 or something like that. I very nearly purchased the Luke one, and then they were sold out because the internet. And I've looked a couple times on Stock Exchange, and I'm unwilling to pay $800 for the same jacket. So, like, I love you, StockX, but I'm not paying $800 for a jacket so that I can pretend I'm Han Solo.
That is totally fair.
I felt like it was. Like,
I mean,
if I'm honest with myself, I probably don't need that jacket, but like if one happened to fall into my lap, I wouldn't say no to that jacket.
I spent a lot of money on my Mando armor.
That's fair.
Though the company I got it from no longer exists.
I'm going to assume a Disney cease and desist made it so that that armor no longer exists.
No, actually, he was in Florida, and that hurricane that went through last year or the year before, wiped out his shop. Like, he just got new molds, and
that sucks.
And he's like, I can't. And like people were like, he had to. He was asking people, you know, just to give him like a little bit more time, and then like all these people demanded more or like demanded refunds. Which I mean, after a certain time, I suppose people are allowed to do that. It just sucks that it kind of it put that guy under. He was like, for those that interested or are interested or cared, it was Mando Mercs Club approved armor.
Nice.
But I was able to order it. I ordered it on his Memorial Day sale.
Yes.
So I got in-store credit equal to the amount I spent. So I got 2 sets of armor for the price of 1.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only ever done really basic cosplay, so I've never really had a chance to do like a big cosplay. But I'm always interested. I just, you know, for the last year or so, not having cons and stuff like that, and really the next set of cons that I'm probably gonna head off to are gonna be very much in the spirit of 40K, so I probably won't be doing a whole lot of Star Wars cons anytime soon. But I don't know. It'd be nice to do cosplay at some point. I got one really expensive hobby already. I'm not sure how many more I need. What do we think, Adam? Is it still too blue, or should we go a little more white?
On the arms?
Oh, I was just thinking, like, in total on our little model. You know what would probably help? Probably do a really quick base coat of some skin color, just to set off that armor and really start to show off where that's going.
I have one bone to pick with this company.
What's that?
North America. Never mind. I did misread the beginning, but anyway, I just read the second line. United States territories and possessions, including Puerto Rico and Canada.
Okay. Last I checked, that wasn't a part of the United States, but I've been wrong before.
The line above it says North America, then in brackets, United States, U.S. military bases, wherever located, and then territories and whatnot, and so forth. So it wasn't including Canada there. I just skimmed it and only like focused on the second line. I was like, what the hell?
We're definitely not part of the United States of America.
Oh God, no, not at all.
I mean, there's lots of America that's very nice. There is lots of America that not sure that I'd live there, but like it seems like the people who live there enjoy it, so cool. Good on them, I guess. Oh, we were having an awful brush day. Apparently I need to spend some time here cleaning up some brushes. There's lots of spuddy brushes today. It doesn't help that we are... This is bad. When your brushes are doing this, get rid of them.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, these are just cheap brushes that I'm using that I think I got this entire pack of brushes for $5. So not terribly worried about these brushes being cruddy brushes, but like when your brushes are doing that, it is easier to just toss your brushes and go get new ones, because there's not much you can do about brushes doing that involves your life getting better. You can continue to fight it, but it's easier to just move on. Say, well, thanks for the memories, friend, and then go and find yourself some new brushes. Alright. I'm just putting a really quick coat of, this is just some basic flesh from scale 75. I think it's just called flesh, if I'm honest with you. Now that I think about it, it's probably not called basic flesh, but whatever. So I'm just putting a little coat of this just so that we can see the armor separated out from the rest of the model a little easier. I'm not going to get crazy with detail here, but I am going to try and give ourselves some of the cleanup look here. Just see if we are too blue and we need to add a little bit more white in, or we are sufficiently whited up. Also,
Next Generation complete tip set going up to the rank of Fleet Admiral.
are you looking at all the stuff that's on Novos?
Yeah, I may have fallen into a hole.
Yeah, that's fair. I have fallen into that rabbit hole many a time. So I just sit there on their website and being like, oh, man, if only I had thousands of extra dollars to spend on cosplay gear.
I wish I had $4,200 to get the Spangler Legacy Proton. Oh, it's discontinued. All the Ghostbuster stuff is discontinued.
Yeah, I think they lost their Ghostbusters license. At some period of time, I think they also were trying to get the Marvel licensing. I don't know if that ever came through.
They only have 5 things.
Yeah.
3 of which are weird scale Q-Fig dioramas, whatever Q-Figs are. And then they have Star-Lord's jacket and Captain America's Civil War inspired jacket.
Yeah, if there was one that I was wanting to do, it was the not Civil War jacket, the you know when Cap and Black Widow are on the run and the Cap's wearing that alternate jacket that still kind of looks like he's Captain America when they're wandering through the mall and whatnot while he's being incognito. No, not when they're in the mall. After they're in the mall, when they go to visit the military base in Jersey. At any rate, they had that jacket for a while, and I was like, ooh, I kind of like that jacket. It's just like a regular, like, wearing everyday sort of jacket that I could get away with wearing and nobody would know I'm cosplay, but I would secretly be Steve Rogers all the time.
I would say Civil War or Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, sorry. Was I saying Civil War? Because I definitely meant Winter Soldier. Okay, Winter Soldier. Sorry.
That's fair. I did say
Civil War?
Yeah, I did say Civil War because I was also reading a thing about a Civil War jacket. Oh yeah, I see it now. Yeah. Oh, someone's making a really, really good Winter Soldier one, and it's even missing the left sleeve, or it looks like it's detachable.
Yeah, there's I mean, as I said, they have access to screen use props, so like these guys are legit, and there's a reason why it is thousands of dollars for a Kylo Ren costume, right? Like it is legit. All right, how are we feeling? How are we feeling, stream? How are we feeling, chat? Is that too blue on the white armor with, I mean, that's not perfect coverage by any means on that flesh color around it, but keep working up that flesh color.
I think that's looking better now. Like it's bringing.
I mean,
my eyes not immediately drawn to like the blue parts anymore. It was before, but I was also like, I was like focusing. I was like, okay, where's all the blue?
Yeah, I think we're pretty close. We'll continue to work on it. There's also some other parts of this. So once we've got some of the terrain stuff done, I'm in the process of 3D printing some more terrain pieces. We'll start working on the actual diorama part of this guy here very soon. I've got the actual Astartes 3D printed, but I'm still designing / working on some of the 3D prints for the rest of this dude. So once that stuff is done, you guys will get to see sort of the scene that we're going to be putting these dudes into. And the scene itself is also going to add some more light sources and stuff to it. So I'm pretty confident with where we're at with this armor. I don't think I want to take it much further on the armor bits of it. Obviously, now that I'm sitting here painting basic flesh onto, still paint this in a variety of flesh tones. Flesh on here too, but for right now I'm just going to base coat it all on this basic flesh just to get rid of some of the blue tones that are all over the model so that we can start to see bits and pieces. Seems reasonable to me.
It's time for Hits on 2+. I've got it's actually went to high school with a dude named Cornell.
Oh, I was thinking like Cornell University, part of the Big Ten, you know, or a member of the Ivy League. Bloody.
Yeah. So these are. I've been following him for a while. Actually, you've been following his true scale, like weird sci-fi army, which you can actually see. Like those are completely scratch built kit bash. It was those. But these armor in both of these for the Blood Angel and then the member of the Death Company.
Yeah, very much in the like Bungie 2.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of well, especially the old Mark helmet on the Primaris Marine. I really love the yeah, I love how he did his black armor where there's almost no actual solid black chunks. They've all got some yeah, also really dig the just plain old red guy. I like the weathering he's done on it. It's really quite good stuff.
Yeah, just other stuff. Well, other views of both. Well, of the Death Company there, so you can see there's a little bit better close up of the Death Company one. Then you can see the two of them together. Just neat army. Yeah, I like it. I like it. For Hits on 2+, this segment is, of course, you guys can participate in this as well. So if you guys want to say shout it out in chat who you think is the winner of the Hits on 2+, just shout it out in chat, or you can put it in the comments if you're watching this later on. We always tally it up and say whoever won last week, which, by the way, Adam, it was a tie. We both got one vote last week, so
I think both votes might have actually been shown.
That's entirely possible. If you guys want to vote on this stuff, or if you want to contribute by having yourself put into Hits on 2+, I know we've actually featured a couple of our viewers in Hits on 2+ now, so that's always cool. It's always fun to feature parts of the community. If you guys get a chance, it would be super cool if you could head over to Cornell, give them a follow. Yeah. If you want to have your stuff included in Hits on 2+, you can always DM me on Instagram, just Choice Minis on Instagram, or you can head over, or you can email us, choiceminis@gmail.com, or head over to our website and just use the feedback over on the website, choiceminis.ca. Any of those will get to us, and we would love to feature your stuff. I, on the other hand, am going with a completely and totally ridiculous one, which I feel like most people would already have seen these guys at some point in their lives. Maybe not. But Trapped Under Plastic. So this is Ninjon and the Miniac. They have a weekly podcast that comes out. It's supposed to come out on Monday mornings. I normally listen to it on Monday mornings. Yeah, they've had a bunch of guys on there. Ben Cantor has been on there. Darren Latham's been on there. Vincey V. Sam Lenz, just like a lot of painters, a lot of guys who got who've been really active in the hobby as far as competition painting, as well as just like talking about miniature resources and stuff like that. So just another cool place that you guys can go and listen to Scott and John. I love it. And as far as like, you wouldn't think that I podcast about miniatures work, mostly because audio mediums plus miniatures is never one of those things that like it did. Even when I first heard about this, I was like, how is that going to work? Totally does. It's fun to just listen to the two of them be idiots. So if you want to listen to a couple of dudes in their 30s be idiots, it's a great podcast for that. Also, their audience is entirely, they address their audience as the goody peepees, which I think is hilarious because I'm actually a 14-year-old boy.
But on that one, that is actually, yep, I love that.
Yep, everybody is goody peepees on their podcast. Last week or this week's, I guess, talking with Ben Cantor. So Ben cleaned up at the 2020 Slayer Sword. Sorry, not Slayer Sword. At
Golden Demon.
Adepticon, yeah. Golden Demons. No, sorry. His was at Adepticon. His wasn't Golden Demons because we didn't have a Golden Demon competition in North America because we haven't had one since 2013, even though it's coming back in 2022.
Even though the episode's titled "Want to Win a Golden Demon."
The Golden Demon that he's talking about is they're talking about going to Golden Demon in 2022. Yeah, so Ben won a whole bunch at ReaperCon and also at Adepticon. Both of those who took home a whole bunch of painting awards. He had just killer entries too. Like it wasn't that the competition wasn't stiff, but they were talking about because there hasn't been a Golden Demon outside of the UK since 2013, and they're coming back in 2022. And nobody has had a competition since 2019. Just how possibly insane it's going to be. Also, they were talking like they're all Americans, right? Like Ben's from California, Scott and John are from Minnesota. Maybe not from Minnesota, but they both live in Minnesota for sure right now. But they were talking about, they got into that thing, Americans like, and I'm sure that even the Americans who are listening right now would admit that this is a thing that they do. They got all like, we're American, greatest country on the planet, American exceptionalism, whatever, jingoism. They got really like that, and I was like, what if I used all of the like tools and tactics that these guys are talking about? Because they're like, what would be a good showing for America at the 2022 Golden Demons, right? Like, because there is going to be one in America, and because the only entry criteria for Golden Demon is that you haven't won another Golden Demon with the model. You can have won other awards, but as long as you haven't won another Golden Demon specifically, you can win one at during the Golden Demon competition, right? So you can enter with any model as long as it hasn't won another Golden Demon. And they were like, man, there are so many models in America because, like, other than Vince Venturella, nobody's really traveled overseas. Like, nobody's gone to England to actually try and win Golden Demons, right? So they were talking about all of that sort of stuff. And all I could think of as the lonely Canadian boy that I am, I was like, what if I went to America and stole their milkshake? What if I went to America and drank their milkshake? Like, I'm not sure that I've got a model that is just on the shelf right now that I could win a Golden Demon with, but I'm pretty sure I could put one together that I could win a Golden Demon with. Like, maybe I'm being egotistical. I'm definitely being egotistical. But if I put 100 hours into a model, I'm fairly certain that I could get in the conversation. I don't know if I win, but I could certainly get in the top 3. I know who I am. Like, I know my skills. So
some of the Golden Demon winners I've seen in the past, like, haven't even been a customized mini. It's a standard out of the box mini with a really nice base and like just an absolute killer paint job. And there's other ones where the very first White Dwarf I bought had the Golden Demon and Slayer Sword winner of that year, because it was the same guy.
Yeah.
For the same mini. And it was an 18-inch tall Corn Berserker that had light up red eyes. And he was like, I just made it out of stuff out of my bits box, and he made it. It was huge. I saw it like it's the size of a Titan.
Yeah, so sorry, that is the other for Golden Demon, the model has to majority be made out of GW parts. That is the other part of that, right? It needs to be a GW model made out of mostly GW parts. But there are like really famous models that have not gone to a Golden Demon competition. Like, you know, that Nagash that everybody thinks about, the one where he's like lounging on the throne, or like sort of not necessarily lounging, but he is, you know, like slouching on the throne.
Yeah.
That model has never gone to a Golden Demon competition, and it is from an American painter, and I'm forgetting who right now. I'm forgetting who it is, but that's an American model. That could technically go to American, like that could go to Golden Demon. It won a Slayer sword. It could go to Golden Demon and clean up a Golden Demon, because it's never been in a competition before, because again, there hasn't been a Golden Demon in North America in 8 years. So like there's lots of models out there that could go to the 2022 Golden Demon. I don't know if I could beat somebody in single model, but I'm pretty sure squad I could probably place fairly well. If I really wanted to win something, it'd be like, if you're straight up cheesing the system, I would enter something in Lord of the Rings, because nobody does Lord of the Rings. Probably stay away from open. So there are 7 classes in Golden Demon. It is single fig, monster, squad. It's monster / vehicle.
Yeah.
Squad, single figure fantasy, single figure sci-fi, which is really just Age of Sigmar and whatever. Lord of the Rings and open. Sorry, so there's 2 each for fantasy and sci-fi, because it is single figure fantasy, squad fantasy, single figure No, because there's dual in there. I'm messed up on the number, but I just knowing the like spread of North America and how few people actually play Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings would be the one if you wanted an easier entry. I'm pretty sure it's going to be in Lord of the Rings, but I also wouldn't count on it, because there are a lot of people who are thinking the same thing that I am. Like, if I was going to spend 100 hours on a model, it's going to be like Gandalf or something, and I don't know if I want to spend 100 hours painting white robes, or gray robes for that matter. It doesn't seem like fun. That seems like I would get really mad at that model about 14 hours into it.
That is true.
But yeah, it's just one of those things. Painting contest, at least a GW painting contest on Canadian shores or on American shores. And hearing a bunch of Americans be all like, America's gonna win, at least. I mean, Ben was talking about it. He's like, a good showing for America at 2022 is going to be like, if we can win 7 out of the like 14 awards, that's what it is. It's 14. Like 5 to 7 is a really good showing for American mini painters. I would love to put together a Team Canada to go down, and like, because there are other Canadians that I follow. I don't know if anybody else is interested in doing a team, but like back in ye olde days, and I don't mean that old, I mean like 2013 to 15 when I got into the hobby, Team Spain used to go around and do the same thing, where they would go to the international competitions and they would have one of them present, and the rest of them they would be quote unquote present, but they would have one guy go and enter all the models for them. I would love to do that as Team Canada. Maybe get together a squad, go do a painting competition, even if we don't, like take 1 million gold medals or whatever. It'd be nice to at least be able to represent Canada. Maybe get some respect for my Canuck brothers, some of whom are much better painters than I am. But, get some respect for us too. Maybe go and eat some Americans' lunch, because if I know anything about Canadian culture, it's that our culture is best defined as we're not Americans.
Yeah. If you want to piss off Canadian really fast, call them American. It is actually just a rumor. We're not all nice. Most of us are dickheads.
Also, some of us are like basically Canadian geese. Also, people are people. There are bad people everywhere. Canada's no exception. Alberta's no exception. Just look at our premier. He's an awful human being. But anyway.
Worst. Speaking of that, Canadian geese are one of the most vicious animals on the planet. Fact.
Don't like Canadian geese. And it's just a rumor that we pour all of our anger and hatred into Canadian geese. We pour all of our anger and hatred into, I don't know, also Canadian geese, but mostly everything.
Yeah.
Not saying that we're a hateful people. I've met hateful people. We're just not that, like... Sometimes we're sorry. Most of the time we are not. Are you sorry? Anyway. What is this? At any rate, I feel like at some point in time I'd love to go and do one of the major painting competitions. I'm not sure when, but... Well, I'm going to do 2022 Arby's on Parade, so whether I have to go to England to actually enter into it, or whether I can enter online, I think one way or another I'd like to do it. I have a feeling that I won't have to travel for 2022's, just don't think that they'll be requiring everybody to be in person at Warhammer World, but I also want to migrate to, or do the trip to Warhammer World at some point.
I do really want to go to Warhammer World. As much as I don't like resin, I still want to go to the Forge World store.
Well, the Forge World store and Warhammer World is like Warhammer World, the store. Like, I want to go to the Games Workshop store. Just go see all the dioramas and like the, you know, giant full-size Land Raider and all the rest of it, right? Which reminds me, the life-size Land Raider, are they going to replace that with like a repulsor?
I don't know, because with the points change we talked about last week in the news on Tuesday, made the Land Raider a viable choice again.
Yeah, again, this speaks to me. This is like them making the Devastator squad a viable choice again, and pulling the like old Devastator squad, Tactical Marine squad, the company veterans, all the rest of it. Like, they made the old Marines valuable again, and like Land Raiders, you know, rhinos, stuff like that. I'm sure that they'll make it all viable one more time so they can sell it at whatever stock they've got worldwide, and then they'll FAQ that stuff into being crap again. Because why wouldn't you? Your Games Workshop, like, you need to get rid of the inventory of the Firstborns as soon as you possibly can, so that you can go back to like selling Primaris Marines. You know, Firstborns all slowed down in sales when like the Primaris Marines came out, but like, okay, so you do a little point to shuffle, sell off some of the old inventory that's sitting around, and then go back to like selling the new stuff that you actually have molds working for. Just spitball in here.
It's like right now the new Space Marine meta is like Firstborn bikes with new Primaris Outriders, and then a mixture of like all of the new fast attack options.
Yeah, well, I want to see what happens with the points changes around the go-kart, because I have a feeling the go-kart's going to get a lot more valuable than the Outriders and the old Vikies.
Speeder is supposed to get
point drop. I don't know if it makes it better, but it did get a point drop. So who knows? Who knows? This is a wonderful part of speculating about what GW is doing, because like the only people who actually know what GW is doing is GW. So,
and then I think like half the time it's a guy like wearing blinders in a very dimly lit room, and they're like, you just bump into something and that's what we're gonna do. And then it's like drastic model changes destroy the lore.
Yeah,
like,
I don't think the Black Library gets to talk to anybody else. They like keep them in a closet somewhere, and they're like, write lore, and they're like, what do I write lore about? They're like, Pariah Nexus, I guess, and they're like, what's the Pariah? Oh, they closed the door again. You know, in the IT crowd where they keep what's his name in the closet. Yeah,
absolutely.
That is exactly how that happens.
Yeah.
Also, he's a lovely man in real life. I saw him on what's that? There's a game show on YouTube that he competes on. Noel, what's his actual name? Noel something or other. Noel Fielding? Noel Gallagher? Not Gallagher.
Quite remember like his actual name.
Yeah. That's fine. He is a lovely human being though. And I'm sad that he went goth. It's an IT crowd joke for everybody who we should all watch the IT crowd. Just do yourself a favor.
I think it's still on Netflix.
It is still on Netflix, at least in Canada. I don't know if you live in a different country. Use your VPN and pretend you're from Canada and watch the IT crowd on Netflix because it's totally worth it. Blake disabled. His cameo in Thor, the worst Thor, was shocking. It's not Richard Ayoade.
I try not to think about that Thor movie.
Thor, the worst Thor? Thor, the Dark World? I honestly forgot what it was actually called there for a minute, but it is Thor, the Dark World. I'm really looking forward to Love and Thunder. There is not much else in Phase 4 that is really lighting my fire other than Eternals and Thor 4? Thor?
I want the rumors to be true about Spider-Man, but I don't think they are true.
What's that?
That they're bringing in Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire and Emma Stone, and they're doing Spider-Verse.
Oh, no, that's pretty much confirmed. Alfred Molina just talked at length about what was happening with it. Now, he could have been lying, but Alfred Molina gave a giant long interview about him being Dr. Octopus from the Sam Raimi universe. Also, Sam Raimi got a job at Marvel Studios just before they started filming that, when they're in development on Spider-Man 3. So it would shock me that part of that wasn't that we can use the Raimi Spider-Mans. Because Sony still owns the Raimi Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
So they can totally do that. They're their own rights holders in that case. They could probably do whatever they want.
I read an article a week and a half ago, that where someone in an interview asked Emma Stone about it. She's like, no, I have no upcoming plans to return to the
Emma Stone might not be involved, but Alfred Molina is Dr. Octopus in the original Spider-Mans. I don't know how else to put that. The Tobey Maguire, the everyone is 30-year-old teenager Spider-Man.
The adult teens.
Joe Manganiello's in his 30s and is balding and is supposed to be a high schooler Spider-Man. Sorry, Joe Manganiello, not Joel Manganiello. Let's get some. I'm gonna put some pink on the back of this guy. That circle in the middle. We decided that circle is gonna be pink, so we may as well make it pink. Just base coating armor right now, so you guys can see, or base coating the his skin coat. I'm also gonna put I'm gonna put some pink on the inside of his coat, just on the inside he flaps, where it's visible and where it's easy to access. I'm not gonna do the entire thing. I might do a little bit more of it just by flipping it off the thing, but I like fuchsia. I think that hot pink needs to go all over this thing. It is gonna go all over the actual Primaris armor that I've drilled large portions of. So we've taken bits of the actual, so this is actually a lieutenant that we chopped up in a whole bunch of places, drilled out his armor so that it looks like we've got actual armor pieces that are some of them are more drilled out than others, but you guys can see just drilling out the armor so that it looks like it is off Marine. So the idea is that we're going to have a suit of armor and a naked Marine floating in a vat of goo. Because we got Fabius Bile, so Fabius Bile is definitely going to be overlooking a Primaris Marine that he is definitely not doing some sort of nefarious experiment to because he's an apothecary.
He wouldn't do that.
Listen, if I know anything about Fabius Bile, it's that he's an upstanding member of the Imperium and definitely wouldn't do some sort of weird experiment involving goo and a Primaris Marine.
Not at all.
Anything to the contrary would be slanderous, probably heretical.
Well, most definitely heretical.
I have a feeling that between Belisarius Call and Fabius Bile, who do you think would get more weird with Space Marines?
Oh, Fabius Bile.
You think so? Because Call is super, like, he does some super weird things. He is a part of the Imperium so far as, like, he gets to play with technology toys that he wouldn't otherwise have access to and gets to live forever because, again, Belisarius Call. I have a feeling, like, given half a chance, like, I could be remembering this wrong, but didn't he, like, create an Electro Priest for the Adeptus Mechanicus by, like, editing the Emperor's hardware plans?
I can't remember how the Electro Priests were originally created. The more I know for them is changed.
But, like, the entire AD was a creation of Belisarius Call, as far as I remember. Now, I could be, again, if I'm wrong about that, I would love the
I do
corrections.
know that, like, post-unification of Terra,
Yeah.
was then the unification of the Milky Way, or not the Milky Way, but our solar system. Primarily being the Mechanicum on Mars, because they did evolve like separately over I think it was like 10,000 year long
Dark Times? The Great Dark Times?
the age of strife.
I like my title for it.
Because the Eldar couldn't keep it in their pants while doing all of the drugs.
Listen, we don't need to blame the Eldar for all of our problems. But yeah, it's mostly the Eldar. Want to know why we have the Necrons? Because the Eldar.
Yeah, you want to know why the Necrons and Chaos aren't kept in check? The Eldar.
Want to know why Slanesh exists? The Eldar.
The Eldar. Yep. That
Like,
is true.
Let's be serious. If we had bad guys in the 40k universe, is it the Eldar? Are the Eldars the baddies? I mean, I know they like chaos isn't great. Like the ruinous powers wander around and screw things up, but like, seems to me that a lot of what they get to do is just because the Eldar are genuinely incompetent.
Oh, the Eldar are all hung up on, we had the greatest civilization. Keyword there, Joe, is had, and then you guys all,
not all of them. Some of them are pretty uppity about making make the Eldar great again. But like, most of them are stupid. Most of them have done dumb things to put everybody in peril. I love this combination of colors. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm really stoked. I'm loving where this is going. I'm absolutely loving our fuchsia and white with the blue tints to it. We're gonna pull some of that blue into our fuchsia color as well. Just using a blue to, like a fairly saturated blue, to do some of the shadowing on our fuchsia color. Here you go. You guys see just how striking that is right now. Got a little bit of cleanup to do. A dot tremor in my hand got away from me there, but I'm stoked with where we're at with this guy. I'm loving this combination of colors. Now, another question for you. Do we do white on the armor trim? Or do we make Fabius Bile a little bit more Fabius by giving him an alternate trim color for his armor? Thoughts? You guys a little circly view. What do you think, Adam? White trim, different colored trim?
I'm really not too sure. I'm very torn. I want to say stick with just the white, but something else would look cool also.
That's fair. Do we know? I can look it up too.
Apothecary trim is generally white.
Okay. I just don't want to stray too far so he stops looking like an apothecary. But I also want him to look fabulous because, you know, Fabius. Fabulous? Fabius? Fabulous? See where I'm going with this? It's very close. It's almost as if that were intentional. Oh, see, now the Ultramarines dudes have... See, this is the problem, is now I'm looking at the internet, and the internet is just a variety of awful resources, most of which are confusing and conflicting. So, let's see. It's here that are red as opposed to made from human skin. But I'm going to stick with human skin. I feel like the human skin is a better neutral color for our, like, ultra bright whites and ultra dark. Well, soon to be ultra bright. Excuse me, fuchsia as well. I don't know. I'm gonna clean up some of the details on the skin while I continue to think my way through this, because I feel like we should give this some real thought. What do we feel like we should be doing with the ye olde I'm gonna switch back to a larger brush here just because I'm not doing anything that detailed. And having more paint on the brush means fewer strokes and more coverage. Too much water in that brush. Yeah, I think it looks pretty sharp with the white in there, but I'm not firmly convinced one way or another. I'll continue to think about this. If you have opinions on this, you can go ahead, feel free, throw them in the comments, throw them in chat, DM them to me, or don't. Really up to you. But if you don't tell me, I'm definitely gonna do whatever I feel like. I'm not sure what I'm feeling like yet, so that's why I was sort of throwing it out there, seeing what everybody else is feeling on this guy. Because Fabius needs to be fabulous. And I do see some artwork of people, and actually like GW artwork, with conflicting reports on what that should actually be colored as, because, you know, GW, it's whatever looks cool on the model. So I do like the very definitive separation that is provided by like bright crispy whites.
I just received a text message from our really old friend Aaron.
Oh yeah?
And by really old, I'm not that we've known him for a long time. He is just really old.
Wow. How's our really old friend A.A. Braun doing?
Not bad.
That's nice. You guys used to be roommates.
We did. We were roommates for quite a while. I think like 3 or 4 years.
There you go. I haven't spoken to A.A. Ron in a bit. We played some D&D together for a while. Ooh, not that I am expecting a response from me, but how are you feeling about the idea of Frosty Fridays?
I'm okay with Frosty Fridays.
Yeah? I'd love to do it in person. So for those of you who don't know, because I don't think we've actually talked about this on stream at all, Frost Haven, the Gloomhaven sequel, is inbound. It sounds like it's still going to drop in August. There's always the possibility that that gets pushed back slightly, but I thought, hey, I like the idea of Gloomhaven. I like the idea of a Dungeon Delver Plus. So it's not quite just a straight up standard Dungeon Delve board game, but it is a little bit less than a full RPG, something like, you know, Dungeons and Dragons or something like that. Still heavier than like Boss Monster or Munchkin, but like not terribly heavy. Mostly focused on tactical combat, minis game. And I liked the idea of Gloomhaven. We were playing a lot of D&D when that first came out, and it didn't really, you know, strike that much of a fancy at that point in time. But we are thinking about featuring Frosthaven, not only the playing of Frosthaven, but on Fridays we were probably on On Fridays, we'd either play or paint something from Frosthaven. Obviously, playing through the campaign so that we can get more of the unlockables. But it's up to you guys. What do you guys think? I mean, Adam. Also, what do you think, Adam? But I would love to get together, review frosty beverages, play some Frosthaven. Seems like a fun game.
Down for that. Yeah, like I do really like, as much as I love tabletop RPG games. They're a lot of work for people who run them.
Yeah.
And it's not always convenient. And I've found that, like, you know, on the times our D&D group that, you know, something happens, like, you know, life happens, we don't have enough people to run, or, you know, we just kind of feel like changing pace a little bit, and we'll spend the day having many frosty beverages and far too many snacks, and play like the Lords of Waterdeep or that other D&D, like, kind of build your own, like, you expand the dungeon as you go one. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, the Host on Haunted Hill, except for D&D. I forget what it's actually called.
Yeah,
yeah.
that one. Yeah, I really enjoy those games, and Frosthaven seems like it'll be a little bit more in depth.
Yeah, it is definitely a deeper game than those are. There is like a progression system, and it is like it is an RPG light. Like, it is somewhere between like just a regular dungeon delver, like, say, you and I have played Imperial Assault, or not Imperial Assault. Yeah, Imperial. Is it Imperial Assault, or am I mixing that up with the like game from my youth?
You mean you're mixing up?
I'm thinking Rebel Assault. It is Imperial Assault.
Were you thinking Legion?
No, Legion's the tabletop war game, right? Star Wars Legion is the
Yes, I remember now.
Yeah. Imperial Assault is the like board game dungeon delver that is what's it called? There's a fantasy version of it, Descent. It's Descent, except for with Star Wars instead of generic fantasy from Fantasy Flight. At any rate, yeah, it's a little bit deeper than that system. There are unlockables and all the rest of it. It is its own world. Isaac Childress is the designer of the game itself. The game mechanics are fairly simple, but like the game itself seems pretty weighty and fun. So I don't know. I would look forward to playing it with you if you happen to be in the Calgary area and think that you would be, or think that you would have fun and maybe want to join us. We're looking for probably 4 people on that one. And yeah, because I don't really have time to run D&D right now because work is busy and life is busy. And as much as I was running a D&D game during the pandemic, it's now been months and I haven't gotten it running again because life is busy. And as much as I want to return to that game at some point, I was running it on my M1 Mac, which I was also running the stream on, and that Mac died and they've replaced it, and I just haven't, I'm having a hard time getting myself together to go back because there are a million other things to do that don't involve having to deal with a Mac and a whole bunch of networking issues and all the rest of it. So as much as I love that game, I don't know when we will be back to it next. And yeah, the more that I talk, the more I'm like, I miss playing D&D, but also I don't have enough bandwidth to deal with that and the stream and being alive. So one of them had to go. At any rate, I think it would be a fun game, especially since it's all of us versus the system, as opposed to somebody having to do the normal amount of D&D prep, which some people get away with none. I am not that DM. I don't get away with none. It definitely is a lot of... I put a lot of effort into prepping my game for D&D, so not to shame anybody who puts less prep or likes to play a little bit looser version of D&D or style of D&D. That's cool. Like, do you have fun doing the thing that makes you have fun? But like, I like lots of prep. I am also looking forward. We will be going to do a D&D camping at some point in the not too distant future. I'm hoping once we can guarantee that the world is back up and open again, and we're not going to immediately plunge back into another lockdown. Looking at you, the last time I tried to plan a D&D camping trip, and ended up having to cancel because
People can't stop spitting on each other.
yeah, I have a feeling that we're in the middle of creating COVID yeehaw, but like whatever.
Yeah, that
That's
is.
stampede.
Yep, that is so dumb. I don't understand.
And it's not just because I don't particularly care for the Calgary Stampede, even though I'm a native Calgarian, have a tattoo about the Stampede on my body, and was in the Stampede show band for 4 years. I think it's incredibly irresponsible to be hosting a giant outdoor festival right now. Even Edmonton was like, let's not have Capital X this year. Calgary was like, full on yeehaw, let's go. More COVID.
Yeah, Calgary's like, our numbers are going down. We're going to change that.
The numbers are going down. Those are rookie numbers. Get those numbers up immediately, especially that Delta variant. Boy, howdy. More Delta variant, please and thank you. I would really appreciate it if we never had that again. That would be super cool. Okay, guys, I think I'm done for the night. I'm now ranting about COVID yeehaw, so I'm going to end it here before I get us in even more trouble. So thank you, everyone, for watching, commenting, being with us here on the stream today. I am Steve Thomas at Choice Minis. You can follow me on your social media of choice at Choice Minis. Adam, where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at beach_vacation_Mando.
Neat. If you liked what you saw, take a moment, give us a like. Hit the subscribe or follow, ring the stupid little bell. We'd love to have you guys come and hang out with us. If you have any suggestions for models or techniques and stuff that you'd like me to demo, every time somebody's asked, I've done the technique pretty much as soon as I possibly could. So if you have something that you'd like me to paint for you on stream, that's cool. I'm down for it. We got some blue-white paint, or somebody asked me about white armor a couple of weeks ago. Pink armor. Yep. You can also email in Choice Minis or DM me or send a couple of bucks so that. But the best way that you can help us out is just telling a friend, getting somebody to come join us, because we love it when more people can join in the hobby together, right? Adam,
Yeah,
I love you, man.
love you, dude.
We'll see everybody on Thursday. We will be back. We will be doing something probably to do with orcs. I'm thinking probably silver pants. I haven't fully figured it out yet, though. We'll see what comes up on Thursday. I got a bunch of orc pants to paint. I got a bunch of black armor here, and all of these dudes need their silver pants done. So probably, let's call it silver cloth. So we will be back on Thursday, June the 17th at 6 o'clock p.m. right here in Calgary, Alberta. That's 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock in the Eastern time zone, on Twitch, on YouTube. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Do something about white supremacy. ACAB. Peace.
Everybody.